Aia Vitality. Your health is every choice you make. We are part of a global wellness program with over 1.65 million members in AIA across Asia. And in Singapore, we have more than 100,000 members on AIA Vitality. Members live healthier by knowing their health through online health assessments and screenings. They improve their health by logging exercises and enjoying the rewards to keep them going. And indeed, members are making improvements in their health. Even the vitality age gap has narrowed to less than a year. Best of all, you earn points for every activity. The higher your status, the greater the rewards, including up to 15% off insurance premium on selected AIA plans. To keep you going, there is the weekly fitness challenge, with personalized targets to help pace and improve your fitness. When you complete the challenge, you get a spin on the Vitality Wheel to earn Vitality Coins, which you can use at the marketplace. That's not all. You also earn AIA Vitality Points for completing these activities. And very soon, you'll be on your way to Platinum status. And we sweeten the deal further with many exciting partner benefits that you can enjoy. With AIA Vitality, nothing gets better than a healthier you. So get onto AIA Vitality today because your health is every choice you make.
It's a brand new AIA Singapore Premier League season and we kick off with a blockbuster. Champions League bound Tampines Rovers visit the Sailors of the Lion City, complete with the league's first ever $1 million player. Last season, Aurelio Vidmar tried and failed twice to get the better of Gavin Lee. Can he make it third time lucky tonight? It's the Sailors up against the Stags on the opening weekend of the AIA Singapore Premier League. It's next and it's live. It's hashtag Game On, Bring Back the Raw starts with bringing back the AIA Singapore Premier League. It's the Sailors and the Stags live from a cloudy Jalan Besar Stadium in the heart of Singapore. Just one of a double header of games that gets the season underway. 4 games over the weekend, 2 tonight, 2 tomorrow. Simultaneously to this, at Jurong East, the champions Albirex Negata in action against the cheaters of Hougang United. Then tomorrow, don't forget to join us for another doubleheader as Geylang, AFC Cup-bound Geylang take on Tanjung Pagar United, who've made some very shrewd signings, and the Young Lions take on the Tigers, Marco's men of Balestier Khalsa. It all adds up to a blockbusting opening weekend, and I'm delighted to say we start it here for you live at Jalan Besar. I'm Patrick Kinghorn, alongside a very familiar face to fans of AFC football all across the continent and a former Singapore Premier League player himself. It is Roshan Rai. And Roshan, I know I'm sometimes accused of overhyping, but I've been to see all these Singapore Premier League clubs in our preparation for this at One Play Sports, and there's a renewed energy and vigour. In a perverse way, that COVID-19 interruption midway through last season has actually helped some clubs save money, and to their credit, they've reinvested. A lot of new signings across the league, not just here with the Sailors.
Exactly, and I think that's what we're all sort of looking forward to. It's the renewed optimism about the league, and we want to see these sides come up against each other. Some talented young coaches in the league as well, talented young players coming through. And you mentioned the signings that we've got on display throughout the league. You know, when you think about Doi at Hougang, how he settles with a club like that, and just right across it, you know. So I'm really looking forward to a competitive season this time around.
Yeah, and Ganning have thrown a spanner in the works as well, haven't they, with Silvano? It's going to be interesting to see how he goes. But of course, we have to focus on the teams we're dealing with here tonight. The Sailors have a host of new signings. 2 Brazilians that stand out, including the $3 million man, Diego Lopez. And breaking news, folks, I hate to tell you this, both Brazilians miss out today. More to come on that in a minute. Faris Ramley, a familiar face to fans of the Singapore Premier League, is back in the SPL after a stint in Malaysia with Terengganu. He Diz make at least the bench. But they've made quality signings. They have improved the Sailors. As for Tampines, they've obviously had their pockets pinched for the second season straight by the team they played tonight. But Armin Bosniak, who's been plying his trade in Montenegro, he could be a very dark horse. And I'm fascinated to see how Mark Ryan Tan gets on, having been with the Young Lions and showed some glimpses of ability. Will he improve for playing with, no offence to the Young Lions, a slightly stronger squad this season? So when you look across those two raft of signings, who do you think's done the best business?
Well, I mean, you've got to look at Lion City Sailors as the side that's, invested and brought in the big money signings. And I think everyone is really excited and looking forward to seeing Diego Lopez in what would have been his first game of this SPL season. But it's a long season to come. They'll manage their squads. If he's not completely fit, then it doesn't make sense to risk him in the opening match of the season. They've got a lot of planning to do. In terms of Tampines, you look at Bosniak coming in, and he's got a big job in terms of replacing Jordan Webb. I know Gavin has said that, he's not exactly a like-for-like replacement, but perhaps just trying to take that pressure off his shoulders a little bit. But he should show his quality, because he's got to add goals and he's got to add chance creation to this Tampines Rovers side, because that's what Jordan Webb brought to them. Yeah,
it's going to be interesting to see how Tampines cope without Jordan Webb. I mean, I think Jordan Webb's a great guy, but let's be brutally honest here. He effectively cost them the title with that ridiculous red card against Tanjung Bagari. He's now in Canada. We wish him all the best. But it's life after Jordan now for Tampines Rovers. You've mentioned Diego Lopez. Officially, folks, the word we're getting is that he's got a slight back problem that they don't want to risk on this brand new surface at Jalan Besar. You can see it behind us here. It's a brand new pitch at the Jalan Besar Stadium, and I think the theory is it's going to play quite hard early, so they're not risking him today, which I suppose may raise some eyebrows, bearing in mind it's their home pitch. Faris Ramley does start on the bench. I mean, you've seen him a lot in action, both in Malaysia and here. Tell us a bit about the quality of Faris Ramley.
I mean, he's not going to be a surprise to viewers of Singapore football. And when you look at Faris Ramley, his qualities that he brings, his ability on the ball, he's absolutely brilliant in those one-on-one situations. He takes defenders on, and that not only creates opportunities for himself, it opens up spaces for his teammates as well. So, you can sort of trust him in those attacking areas. He carries that goal-scoring threat as well. So he's not just a player who creates opportunities for you. He's a player who gets into those dangerous areas and also gets the ball in the back of the net.
And here's something that Tampines won't need reminding of. He's done damage to them before, this time in the orange of Hougang. And he's at the point in his career, isn't he, where, he's back in Singapore. I'm sure now this is where he sees himself seeing out his career with this exciting Lion City Sailors project. But again, a surprise he's not up front. I mean, it's not just the shocking team use from the Sailors that really stands out. Stipe Plazivat, the Golden Boot winner, who was injured at the tail end of last season, he starts. But Boris Kapotovic, Big Bad Boris, as I like to call him, he has to make do with a place on the bench. And arguably, I mean, in terms of the contrast of the two teams, that's as big a miss for them as arguably Lopez is for the Sailors.
Yeah, I mean, you take away the fact that, he is that sort of focal point for Tampines in those attacking areas. You can play it into him. He can hold up the ball in those positions. He can get himself into the penalty area and finish up situations like that. So it's going to be interesting to have a look at sort of the setup that Tampines have going here in this game against Lion City Sailors. It looks like they won't exactly have an out-and-out number 9. It looks like they're looking for a bit more mobility perhaps in those forward positions. Perhaps we'll see something like a false 9 in that lineup from Tampines Rovers. I mean, it's intriguing how they're going to attack this game tactically and what Gavin has got lined up for this game against what should be a very strong Lion City Sailors side.
Yeah, I want to turn the spotlight onto Gavin Lee, and we'll do that a little bit later on in our pre-show. Now, I'm looking behind me here and looking to my right. I wasn't being rude to Roshan. The lightning warning system is just to my right here at Jalan Besar, and we have been told, unfortunately, there is a chance it will go on, but not yet. So let's keep our fingers crossed that we get to the action just in time. In the meantime, we build up to what is a great fixture to start with, because the Lion City Sailors started the season last campaign as favourites, and obviously had a disastrous start, including a 4-0 defeat against Tampines Rovers. So the pressure's on Aurelio Vidmar here.
It certainly is. I mean, you mentioned the word project early on, and when you're sort of investing that sort of money into it, there, of course, this expectation and this pressure. Even their own players, Stipe Plazibat has spoken about, it's a title. If they don't win the title, then the season's considered a failure. I think they're everyone's favourites out there, but it's time now to show what they can do on the pitch. Again, I've got to stress that it is a very long season. Things can change. As we come into middle stages, we've got international breaks coming up. We've got AFC Cup, AFC Champions League matches to come in. So it's going to be a really condensed sort of season there. And squad management, rotation is going to be an important part of how these sides get on.
And again, going back to what we said at the top of the show, I think the key is going to be you are going to find more teams. The likes of Tanjung Bagar, obviously finished bottom last season. They're going to cause surprises this year. I mean, I thought they played well under the limited resources. They've made the signings, they've strengthened. I don't think we'll see an unbeaten team this season, certainly.
Well, again, it's about the expectations of teams now that have risen. You know, you're talking about Tanjung Pagar. Absolutely, they're a side that last season struggled. You know, not a win in the league for them. So they'll be hoping to change these things around. The likes of Khairul Amri coming in. I think everyone's excited about seeing him come back into the side. They've also brought in Rishuto and Ishiguchi just to try and add things to their attacking play. So yeah, you know, we talk about the league and we talk about how competitive it's going to be. It almost feels at times like, you know, there's going to be a group of title challengers, then there's going to be that sort of next group, and it's going to be nice and tight for those challenges, for those places to, you know, try to get themselves as high up as on the table as they can. I mean, Hougang as well are another side who have rebuilt themselves in terms of an attacking sense, but defensively you could argue they look a little bit light. So it's going to be interesting, you know, along the year, again, a long season, to see how some of these sides manage the workload of these players, manage the tactical contest from game to game.
And you deal with AFC football in the Cup and the Champions League. I mean, just how much of a burden is it going to be, particularly on a squad like Tampines?
Yep.
I mean, they've got to go and play sides like Gamba Osaka. They don't know where they're playing them yet, but
yep.
in Gavin Lee's mind, he'll want to make a strong start because he'll know the longer the season goes on, the harder it will be to win points, whereas the Lion City Sailors have got the strength and depth to cope with a congested fixture list that the AFC Cup will bring.
Yeah, again, that's right. You know, you talk about strength and depth, and Lion City Sailors have that. They have that ability to rotate and still maintain a certain level of quality. It's going to be a big challenge for Gavin and Tampines this season. You're absolutely right to mention going and playing in the AFC Champions League is a huge challenge for these players. Physically, it demands a lot. It's a completely different, like 2-3 levels above what they'll probably be used to playing a week in, week out in the SPL. So, you know, it's going to be a learning experience, yes, but, you know, again, that management of the squad throughout the years is going to be nice to watch. It's going to be a new challenge for a young, talented coach like Gavin. I'm sure him and his boys are looking forward to it.
Bringing back the Raw starts here by bringing back the SPL, that great initiative announced by Sports Singapore and the FAS in the week. It's been a long time, 7 years plus, since a Singaporean team lifted the Singaporean Premier League title. I've got a feeling it might happen this year, and you're going to see two of the main contenders in action tonight. Kick-off not too far away. Stay with us. More from Roshan and myself in a couple of moments. Welcome back live to the Jalan Besar Stadium where the stage is set for kickoff in the 2021 AIA Singapore Premier League season. I say the stage is set. You're going to have to be patient because I'm told there is a slight delay to kickoff. The latest news is a 6:10 start, which is obviously a 40-minute delay for us. But we're going to plough it and get Roshan's thoughts and build up to the season at large. Of course, we did have some thunderstorms in the area earlier, so a lightning warning system has led to a slightly delayed kickoff. We will be able to actually see the teams coming up, warming up behind us in just a couple of moments. So do stay with us. It's going to be worth the wait, this I can assure you. And Roshan, let's go back and not just talk about the battles on the pitch between the players. I'm going to focus on the battle in the dagger. I'm a huge Gavin Lee fan, and one thing that surprises me is that he's not garnered more positive headlines. I mentioned in the teaser, in the build-up to this game, that he tried last season, Vidmar, to beat Gavin Lee twice and failed. So Gavin Lee's got the Indian sign over a far more experienced manager.
Yeah, you're right to say that. I think you're quite right to sort of point that out. And I think, you know, people in the coaching circles regard Gavin Lee highly. At 30 years of age to be doing the sort of job that he's done. You know, he's already got a trophy with Tampines. He's already won the cup with them. He's led them to good finishes in the SPL, in the Singapore Premier League. The next step then for him is to trying to really sort of challenge and trying to get themselves to that SPL title. That'll be the holy grail for someone like Gavin. But it's going to be difficult for him because of, you know, the investment that's come into this Lion City Sailors side. Whereas for Tampines, when you look at their transfer work in the window in terms of the squad structure going into this year, it tends to look a little bit more at youth and giving younger players an opportunity. So the business model is a little bit different. The way they work is a little bit different. So again, it's going to be another challenge for Gavin Lee to sort of come across. And, you know, if he comes out of this shining, I'd say, you know, he's one of the big names of not just Singapore coaching, but one of the big names of perhaps Southeast Asian and maybe even Asian coaching on that level. Because the work that he's done in the time that he's had with Tampines has been outstanding. And
of course, Desmond Dong deserves a lot of credit as chairman as well, because let's get this right. Gavin Lee was well thought of, but, you know, working at a very young youth level here in Singapore. And Desmond Dong, I mean, and he'd tell you himself, Desmond, you know, they've not got the money to spend like the Lion City Sailors. And let's put it right as well, if they did have, Gavin probably wouldn't have got the opportunity. So it works both ways, and he's taken the opportunity with both hands. And in contrast, Aurelio Vidmar, you know, he's been around the scene, Bangkok Glass, he was established in Australia. I mean, he comes here with a very high CV, and he talks the right game, seems like a great guy, but the pressure's on him from the get-go here, because their season, forget the AFC Cup, they didn't start last season thinking they were going to qualify for the AFC Cup. They had at worst the slot that Tampines got in the Asian Champions League.
Yeah, I mean, when we talk about pressure, let's remember these are guys who want that pressure. They want to be under that pressure. They understand that they want to be at the top of their game. And when you want to win titles, when you want to win things, you can't run away from that. You can't run away from that pressure. It's something that they've got to deal with. So I don't think when you talk about top players, when you talk about top coaches, that's going to be a huge issue for some of these guys. Yes, you know, he's come in, he's had that money to sort of invest into the team. He's going to have a proper pre-season now, should we say, and having a full season with this club to see what he can sort of do. He's spoken about as well, knowing that they are heavy favorites to go on and win the title. But he says, you know, it doesn't always work like that. And we know football isn't played on paper. It's not played on the lineups. It's played out on the pitch. It's what you can do game after game. Consistency levels have got to be maintained. What I will say is what we did see from his side when the season restarted was lots of goals. I think they scored 44 goals in, 14 matches as the season restarted. It's just having to work on that defensive balance, because that's a situation where they sort of just struggle a little bit with. And I'm sure he would have understood that. That's why we saw, you know, him looking to try and revamp a few positions in that defensive lineup, in that squad overall, just to try and get the balance right coming into this season. But Vidmar is a coach that demands intensity. It demands his players that even in those training sessions, you've got to almost train the way you're sort of playing in there. And he brings such a rich history and a rich experience, having great knowledge in this part of the world, having coached in Australia as well, and the qualities that he's bringing. So, you know, he's no slouch. He absolutely isn't. You know you're getting quality with Gavin. And that's what I mean about the SPL this season in terms of these coaches who are high-quality coaches in my eyes coming together, different tactical styles a little bit. You know, they both want to try and dominate the opposition. But we'll see variances in their gameplay and questions being asked of each other and how they sort of deal with those tactical issues throughout the season.
I mean, you're a student of the game, Matt. I mean, I think we're going to see that, and you'll be great to give us analysis throughout the match, because the tactical battle and how they utilise the substitutes. I mean, that's something we should mention as well, because, you know, in some leagues in Asia at the moment that have restarted, they're having the water breaks, which you'll get here midway through each half. But the J League, for example, still 5 substitutes. It's been decided that the AIA Singapore Premier League this season will stick with 3 subs. And clearly, that does negate one of the advantages. If it had been 5 substitutes, I mean, let's look at the Lion City Sailors straight off the bat. One of their strengths last season, Gabriel Quack for me, was a standout player of the season. Doesn't matter what nationality, he was superb. But you were playing him and they had that luxury of throwing Adam Swandy on, not exactly like for like, but the same kind of player that can do damage, or if you fancied it, playing them together. His options are going to be limited by the fact we're back, and I'm for it, by the way. This 5 subs water breaks, give me a break. It's 3 subs, it's going to level the playing field somewhat.
Yeah, I guess so. But again, when you look at the quality that this can sort of bring on off the bench, you know, it's brilliant.
Yeah, but they've got enough quality to bring
absolutely
5 on, so at least if they're only bringing 3 of them on, it should help the others a little bit.
No, you're right. You're right to point it out. And again, there's this talk about, you know, if it was 5 substitutes, and, you know, clubs around the world, and it's always sort of saying that, you know, it favors the bigger clubs in terms of the options that they can bring on. So you're right to sort of point that out. And again, everything is sort of stacked in Lion City's Sailors' favor in the sense that, you know, they've got that big squad in there. We see Tampines, you know, warming up with Fazul Nawas leading the warm-up for his players there. But look, it's up to the other clubs to sort of step up to that challenge. We talk about wanting a competitive league. You know, we can look at leagues around the world and say, you know, this club is running away with it, that club is running away with it. That's a challenge that is being posed now to some of these other teams. If you're going to be playing in competitive sport, you've got to face up to these things. And, you know, if you're a professional player, you're a professional athlete, and you look at this and you look at the challenge and you say, I'm going to step up with this. I want to play against the best. I want to compete against the best, because, you know, that's the whole point of it. If you don't want to come up against some of the best guys around, some of the best players around, then there's really no point being a professional athlete, is there?
If you're just joining us, by the way, just to update you, great to have you with us on the opening day of the 2021 AIA Singapore Premier League season. Inclement weather in the area means we're looking at a 6:10 local time kickoff. So we are going to be slightly delayed on kickoff, but it's great to have Roshan here. We can bring you all the build-up as we would on normal match day as well. Remember, there's another game going on at Jurong East. Albirex in action there. And, of course, we must mention them very quickly, bearing in mind we've got a bit of time spare, because, you know, the general consensus was that was the weakest team that Albirex have fielded that have gone on to win the title. But win the title they did, and ultimately, relatively comfortably. You just never, ever rule them out. They're going to, again, bring in a conveyor belt of new players from Japan, from university and high school level. But they're going to start one of the favourites as well.
And they should do. I mean, it's incredible that, you know, there's a lot of focus on Lion City Sailors, rightly so, but also Albirex Negata, they are the champions. And at times it almost feels like people are forgetting, you know, almost not giving them that sort of respect that they're going to be there and they're going to be challenging again. Again, they have to sort of renew their roster almost every season with younger players coming through. And there's some interesting talents like Kondo, for example, who was a part of Japan's youth sides growing up. So it's going to be, again, a fascinating season to see how they get on, because tactically they'll be sound, fitness-wise they'll be right up there. They'll be challenging these boys, and it could come down to that come the end of the season. Again, I mentioned fixture congestion later on, mid-season or throughout the year. Albirex don't have to worry about AFC Cup. They don't have to worry about any of those competitions like that. They can mainly focus on the SPL, and that could be enough to give them that advantage.
And year after year, they come here as the fittest side in the division. I don't think that's up for dispute. Don't forget, 4 games coming away this weekend, every single one of them live on Singtel Star Hub across the FAS and Singapore Premier League social media networks, One Play Sports as well. We've got you covered. Wherever you are, you've got no excuse to miss 4 great games coming your way this weekend. But we turn our attention back here. That delayed kickoff is not stopping us from getting amped up and excited about what lies in store. And we've talked in this section of the show about the battle that lies ahead between Gavin Lee and Aurelio Vidmar, and it's great to hear from the horse's mouths, as it were, because a great new addition to our team, Farinera. I'm sure you've seen her out and about giving you some great surround content on the Singapore Premier League this season. She's been down speaking to both managers ahead of tonight's matchup, starting with the boss of the red-hot favourites, Lion City Sailors.
I am here with Lion City Sailors head coach Aurelio Vidmar. Aurelio, we couldn't have asked for a bigger opening day clash. But first things first, I heard that both of your Brazilians, Diego and George, will not be starting tonight. Is there anything you can tell us about that?
No, well, they're just not ready. They obviously came 5 or 6 weeks after everyone had started their pre-season, so they're just a little bit behind, but it won't be too far away.
Like you will be up against the runners-up from last year, Tampines Rovers, but you didn't manage to beat them last season. How will you be approaching tonight then?
Well, it's opening game of the season, and I think it'll still be quite cagey because really at the beginning of the season there's only been one friendly game last weekend, so it's a little bit of unknown for everyone. But you know, we're starting the season confident, and hopefully we play to our potential, and then if we do, then we have a good chance of winning.
Like we said, you made your statement of intent with your transfer activity, but how will you be looking to approach tonight then?
Oh, we're trying to win a game. It's a game of football against a very good opponent. So, yeah, we've done as much training as we possibly could through the pre-season, and now we need to start the season.
Do you think that ramps up the pressure on you guys even more tonight?
For me, it's just round one, so it's a long season to go, and you know, we have to live with that because everywhere we go, everyone's going to expect us to just go out there and win. But it just, as I said many times, it just doesn't work that way. We have to play at our best to win.
Thank you, really good luck.
Thank you.
Now I have with me Tampines Rovers head coach Gavin Lee. Gavin, a huge match tonight. You had a pretty good pre-season, but the real test truly starts now, doesn't it? What are your thoughts ahead of tonight?
Yeah, you know, I think it'll be a good game, exciting game, close game between two good teams, and we're just very excited to go out there and play our football.
Now, your opponents tonight have strengthened immensely during the transfer market. So, like, what do you think will be the biggest challenge here for you tonight?
You know, I think the biggest challenge, like every other game that we play, it's ourselves, and just to stay focused, maintain our thinking, and stick to what we know best, which is to play our football.
And finally, we are so incredibly excited to watch you and your side play in the AFC Champions League this season. Last season, you just missed out on the league title. Would you say one is more important than the other? You have your focus like on one more than the other?
Yeah. The league is always the most important, and that's our main focus. It's a privilege to play in the Champions League, but it's not going to happen till June. So all attention on the SPL.
All right, Gavin, thank you and good luck.
Thank you.
Very disappointed not to hear Gavin Lee talking about the double. What's wrong with the Singapore Premier League and the AFC Champions League? But in all seriousness, I mean, listen, let's be brutally honest about this. This is a huge step up the Singaporean teams playing in the AFC Champions League, but it can only be good in the long term. I mean, you work on those AFC competitions. The fact they're now going to be playing the likes of Gamba Osaka, some of the top teams in China, it's only going to help the players, particularly the young ones, when we talk about bring back the roar. It's only a positive, right? Even though the results might be ugly to start with.
It's going to be absolutely brilliant. I mean, I played in the AFC Champions League myself with the Singapore Armed Forces FC in 2010. It was outstanding. What an experience it was. And again, you go back to, being a professional athlete, being a professional footballer. You go away to some of these venues, you're playing in front of full houses, full crowds. You can't hear your teammate who's standing 5 meters away from you on the pitch. I remember going away to Henan, playing against Henan Jenya in our first game, coming away somehow with a draw, some outstanding goalkeeping by Sharil Jantan. We got a bit lucky as well, Hafiz Osman with a handball clearance off the line. Thankfully, there's no VAR back then, so we got away with a point. Ended up beating them here as well. And I mean, you mentioned Gamba Osaka. We played against Gamba Osaka and Suwon Samsung Blue Wings as well. What a learning experience it is going to be. But learning aside, you also want to sort of show what you can do in these situations. And, people are watching. Scouts are here. They will be watching these games. It's going to be broadcast, these matches across Asia. So what an opportunity it is for some of these players to step up a level and show everyone what they can sort of do on the bigger stage.
And that's a very good point because, of course, we've just seen, got to congratulate him as well, by the way. Irfan Fani lift the T1 title with BG Patum in Thailand. And listen, I mean, I look at Jacob Marler last season for the Young Lions. He, to me, has got the same kind of progress chart ahead of him as an Irfan Fani. And you're right, it's going to put some of these youngsters in the shop window. I mean, I don't want to rattle on about bring back the roar, but this is what it's about. We need to get Singaporean players noticed and follow that trajectory like Irfan. Irfan Fani, for me, is probably the most improved player in the Thai league. Never mind he's Singaporean, and we need to try and get other players on that trajectory.
You look, there's so much, you're absolutely right to bring up that point. There's so much exposure now. We're seeing all these games as we look through the lineup here, Patrick. I mean, Adam Swandi in there who come in as a replacement. You got Justin Hui, a young Justin Hui being given an opportunity with this Sailors side as well. I mean, you look at this team, Nur Adam Abdullah, again another player, a young man who's coming in and again going to be given that sort of opportunity going through. But there's plenty of quality and talent in there. The leadership of Hassan Sani at the back in those positions. Tajali is a very good player, perhaps a little bit underrated at times. You got Shadan controlling things in the center of the park with his ball distribution and his passing game. Then, of course, the league's top scorer, Stipe Plazibat, in there with 14 goals last season, 18 in total, with 4 in the AFC Cup last year. I mean, hopefully they can keep him injury-free, because he'll be a big boost to the side.
Yeah, that hamstring injury was frustrating him so much towards the end of last season. He was desperate to play to get the goals that would secure him the Golden Boot. As it turned out, he didn't have to worry. He won it anyway. What I like about Stipe Plazibart, he's proved it already in Singapore. Doesn't matter whether he's playing with the best team in the country or one of the teams that's maybe a rung down.
Yep.
He scores goals. He's just one of those Alan Shearer type players. You put him in a position, he's going to score goals from very difficult positions. So that's the Lion City lineup. And of course, you saw Chardin there, who was pinched, if you like. Tampines had their pocket pinched at the start of last season, but in came Shah Shahiran to fill that gap, and again, a bit underrated like Tajeli. He did a magnificent job there, and while obviously Boris Kapotovic is a big miss, and the experience of Daniel Bennett potentially from the bench if they need to shore up late, they have got quality there, and I'm hearing good things. We won't know until we've seen him in action, but I'm hearing good things from the camp about Armin.
Yeah, look, again, we touched on earlier about how he was brought in to essentially provide goals and assists and sort of replace what Jordan Webb, in terms of the output, brought in into this side. And looking forward to seeing what he can do, playing in Montenegro and then Kosovo as well. So, he's got to show what he can bring to this Tampines Rovers team. I've seen that he's got a lot of quality and talent in terms of his speed, in terms of his directional changes, starting from a wider position but perhaps drifting in. So when you look at that lineup, again, there's no sort of out-and-out number 9 with Kapetovic on the bench. But look, it could be a situation where you've got Mark Ryan Tan in one of those attacking positions. Perhaps they're playing with a false 9 in that system, a bit more mobility in that forward line. Mark Ryan Tan as well. Again, another sort of outstanding young talent that lots has been spoken about him. When I was doing my AFCB license, I actually took a session where he was one of the participants, and it was a finishing drill, and he was quality in that finishing drill, and outstanding attitude as well in those very short moments that I had with him.
We've had the Fan dynasty. Maybe it's time for a Tan dynasty. I'm just looking across. I'm being told, unfortunately, the lightning warning system has gone off again, and you can see great shot from our brilliant production team. The storm clouds gathering, which is frustrating. But listen. Something like this is worth waiting for, so do bear with us. And of course, we go back to those lineups. And what strikes me is, we were speaking before the broadcast, the half of football, there was 2 halves of football that stood out for me last year. Tampines turning it round against Albirex, and that second half in this fixture last season at our Tampines hub, when it was 0-0 at half-time. Sogoyong hit the post for the Sailors in the first half, and then whatever Gavin Lee puts in the half-time oranges, I want some of it, because just like they did against Albirex later in the campaign, they came out 4-0, blew the Lion City Sailors away, made them look mediocre. And bearing in mind that the 2 Brazilians, of course, the $3 million man Lopez doesn't start, do you think Tampines will be pleased that they're having, on paper, their hardest game of the season away here, that they're getting it out the way in the first game before the Lion City Sailors are in full stride?
Yeah, I think so. And I think, again, that's going to be sort of important, or it's going to have an impact, because, as the coaches have mentioned, it's just the first game of the season. And they haven't had enough in terms of their preseason preparation, in terms of the matches. So building up that match fitness and that match sharpness is going to take a little bit of time. So we might see the tempo at times dropping a little bit in this game. But still, the technical quality that these players have on display should be really good. But you're right to point out that Tampines will look at this and they'll think, yeah, tough opening game. But we get this out of the way, we see what we can do. There should be no fear. Yes, there will be respect, but there should be no fear, because Tampines are a side as well, under Gavin, who know that they can impose their own style of play on the opposition. So, it should be a keenly contested match, this one, between these two sides.
Looking forward to it. Kick-off, the last we heard was 6:10. It's just gone 5:30 local time. We will keep you up to date. But listen, stay with us, because, again, it's not hyperbole. I tell you the truth. And we all have a bitch and a moan about football and the Singapore Premier League. But this is our league. It's our duty to embrace it. And I am telling you, it is a fact. And Roshan will back me up. And if you think I'm getting it wrong, you tell me. The squads this season are gearing up for what is the most competitive season through the 8 teams that we have seen in many a year. It's been 7 long years since a Singaporean team won the SPL, and wouldn't it be a great way to start this Bring Back the Roar initiative that tide is finally turned, and we've got 2 contenders tonight on display? Yeah,
we certainly do, and you're absolutely right to point out the fact that this is our own league. I mean, a large part of it, there's a lot of admiration for leagues elsewhere, and I can understand it. It's viewer's choice. You pick whatever you want. But at the same time, a lot of these guys, some of these guys are your neighbors. Yep. Some of them you went to school with. Some of them, you've played football with, perhaps, for your school teams or at your neighborhood street soccer courts or things like that. So there is that element of community. These are our people. These are our boys. They're playing. So it would be fantastic for us to give that level of respect, that level of interest to some of these players, because they are technically professional athletes, our only professional league. They are the best that we have at the moment, and they're out here week in, week out, training day in, day out, giving it their all. So some of the football that is being played as well, I think if people give it an opportunity and actually looked at it, you'll see how good some of these sides actually are. In terms of the styles of play, it's changed as well through the years. It's not a situation where teams are now going, just from back to front. Nothing wrong with that. That works for you tactically, it's fine. But there's also a variation in terms of, the passing out from the back, wanting to play that short passing game, being composed under pressure in those situations, in those one-on-ones. You see the technical ability of some of the players coming through as well. And this game here between these two sides should be a perfect example of that, the technical quality that we have on display here, and two title challenges, as you mentioned.
I mean, you struggle to find a bigger cynic than me, but when I watched that press conference about Bring Back the Roar, and we've seen that the government are going to put their money where their mouth is, and, it's got the right intentions. We've talked about how wonderfully Irfan's done in Thailand. To go from the bottom up, we're talking about getting more youngsters playing football. Those figures that were talked about were wonderful to hear, that there'll be more people encouraged to play football, because we live in a different world to as we did when the Singapore Premier League, or SPL as it was, the S League as it was then, was initiated. So we're making the initiatives, and I'm telling you, there are positive signs on the horizon. We've talked about Gavin Lee. You just, never mind 2034, and I'll ask you this, Roshan, as a devout Singapore fan. Put your mind 2 years down the track with Gavin Lee as a coach, Irfan Fandi. I'm telling you, I've seen a lot of Irfan Fandi this year. One of the best players, not biased because he's Singaporean, in the Thai League. Jacob Marler, when he gets his national service out the way. That centre-back pairing of Jacob Marler and Irfan Fandi. We've got, of course, Iksan is doing great things abroad as well. There is reasons for positivity.
Yeah, there certainly is. And, the thing is, in my work with the AFC, I go on and speak to some of the best coaches in Asia. And then whenever we talk about Singapore football, they always say, sometimes people in Singapore perhaps don't appreciate or realize actually the amount of talent that we have in our Singapore national team. They point out the likes of Faris Ramley, a known quantity, Safwan Barudin, the names that you mentioned, Irfan, winning is doing well in Thailand, and perhaps an opportunity to even go abroad to maybe a higher tier Asian league, like maybe the J League. I know there were rumors about that. So we do have the players here capable of doing it, and we're showing it in World Cup qualifying, third in our group at the moment, behind Uzbekistan and Saudi Arabia. I was here for the game against Palestine, and stadium was sold out, which is a credit to the fans for coming out and supporting the team. And the atmosphere was absolutely electric. I know Yoshida spoke about how perhaps tactically it wasn't the best of games, but the spirit, the intensity, the desire that they showed in that match was what he was looking for, and it was fantastic. And now that we've got a coach like Yoshida in there, with his experience, with his qualities, and with the players that he has, hopefully we'll start to see the side push on and move forward.
And again, listen, it's easy to criticise. I've done it myself, and it's not easy either to argue with those criticisms. But when something like this is announced, we all need to come together. And of course, we can't come into the grounds yet because of COVID-19. But the production plan, the FAS, and the partners have put in place to bring you every game live across Singtel Star Hub, the own AIA Singapore Premier League Facebook page and OnePay Sports means we're going to give you access to the games, better coverage than ever before. The teams will be featured, the players will be featured on social media. So I'm asking you personally to give this league a chance for the 2 or 3 months, or hopefully shorter than it will be before we can get the fans back into the stadium, and then give it a go once more. I'm sure Roshan's in agreement with that. Right, lightning warning system in effect here. Last we heard 6:10. The good news is we're going to give you all the best build-up to tonight's big game as the AIA Singapore Premier League 2021 gets underway here with the Lion City Sailors against Tampines Rovers. It's coming live, I promise you, just not quite yet.
Aia Vitality. Your health is every choice you make. We are part of a global wellness program with over 1.65 million members in AIA across Asia. And in Singapore, we have more than 100,000 members on AIA Vitality. Members live healthier by knowing their health through online health assessments and screenings. They improve their health by logging exercises and enjoying the rewards to keep them going. And indeed, members are making improvements in their health. Even the vitality age gap has narrowed to less than a year. Best of all, you earn points for every activity. The higher your status, the greater the rewards, including up to 15% off insurance premium on selected AIA plans. To keep you going, there is the weekly fitness challenge, with personalized targets to help pace and improve your fitness. When you complete the challenge, you get a spin on the Vitality wheel to earn Vitality coins, which you can use at the marketplace. That's not all. You also earn AIA Vitality points for completing these activities. And very soon, you'll be on your way to Platinum status. And we sweeten the deal further with many exciting partner benefits that you can enjoy. With AIA Vitality, nothing gets better than a healthier you. So get onto AIA Vitality today, because your health is every choice you make.
Welcome back live to the Jalan Besar Stadium on the opening weekend of the 2021 AIA Singapore Premier League season. I know, lightning warning system, be patient. We've all been here before. Roshan Rai alongside me for the coverage this season. Roshan, you must have been in this position, so give us an insight into what the players are feeling now. They've been out to warm up, in, out, shake it all about, and they're still like us. We were told 6:10, looks like it may be a little later now. What's going through the players' mind?
Yeah, we've had a bumper build-up, haven't we? On the show, we've been building up since 5, and for the players, you know, they've come out, they've done their warm-ups, they've gone back in, you're cooling down again. So it's a situation where there's just a lot of waiting. You know, you're on your phones, perhaps, you know, looking at, going on social media, trying to kill a bit of time. There's not really too much you can do. I mean, what you've done, what the coaches have said, all they can say in the moments, in the situations. You don't want to be in there repeating your message, constantly. So just let the players be for a little bit. You know, try to maintain your focus. Of course, there'll be that aspect to it, but it's difficult, right? You're waiting a long time. There's not really a sort of an update of when you're going to be coming out again, warming up again, and then preparing for kickoff in that match. So it can be a little bit challenging, but you know, that's the way it is. And just as I've been in those situations, these players will have been in similar situations as well. So it's not something that's new to them completely.
My advice to you is this: cancel those dinner plans, get the food sent in, whether you're watching us on Singtel, StarHub, the AIA Singapore Premier League social media channels, or One Play Sports. It is going to be worth the wait, and we'll continue to work on this build-up. We'll hear more from Roshan. I'm hoping that the chairman of Tampines Rovers, Desmond Dong, is going to join us up in the presentation position as well. But while we wait for Desmond's arrival, let's have a look at one of the main players for tonight. He may only be on the bench, but Faris Ramley is back on home shores, and we'll be hearing from him shortly with Farinair, which I'm looking forward to, because Faris Ramley, his arrival's kind of got lost in the furore about the Brazilians, but he might prove to be a very able secret weapon.
He certainly will be. I mean, he's a player that I'm a huge fan of, that I've obviously watched over the last few years or so, and he's a known quantity, isn't he? I mean, everyone knows about Faris Ramley and the quality he brings, and we touched on him a little bit earlier on as well about his strengths in those one-on-ones, his quality in the dribble, the fact that he occupies defenders and creates spaces for his teammates as well. So he brings these qualities to whatever squad he's playing in. And, you know, he doesn't just create chances, he also gets himself into good goal-scoring positions, as we're going to see here when he was playing with Hougang. I mean, you just look at it here, stands up the defender, takes his time, lovely little step over, and then a brilliant finish into the top corner in that situation. So if you sort of give him that time and space to go out and exploit, you're in deep trouble. And you know, he's gone and played in Malaysia as well in his career. Here he is getting himself in the penalty area on the left-hand side with a lovely little finish. So provides them with fantastic options in those attacking areas, wonderful qualities, and an incredibly talented player. And at times, I remember watching him with the Singapore national side as well, playing almost as that false nine. And surprisingly, even though for his size, he's actually pretty decent in the air.
You can see behind us, by the way, I think you can just about make out that Tampines back up, warming up, which is good news. I'm taking that as a very good sign. Let's take this opportunity, actually, for those that are joining us late. It's been a while since we showed them. Let's remind you of the starting lineups for tonight's two teams of the Lion City Sailors and Tampines Rovers, because if you are joining us, we've already seen Farah down pitch side speaking to Aurelio Vidmar and Gavin Lee, and the big news from a Lion City Sailors perspective is the two Brazilians, including the $3 million man Lopez, do not feature in the matchday squad. We're told that Lopez has a slight back concern, which means he's not being risked on what essentially is the Lion City Sailors' home surface this season, so that's a concern. But as Roshan was telling us early, Rosh, there's so much quality in them, and I just love that Gabriel Quack, Adam Swandy, you know, that old 1-2, play them together, substitute one for the other. It just gives them so many options. I mean, look at that bench. The bench is almost as impressive as the starting lineup. Yeah,
again, it's just about managing the workload of these players throughout the season and giving opportunities to everyone and keeping things fresh and making sure they can still maintain a certain level of quality. Some of the obvious names to look out for: Stipe Plazibat with his goal-scoring prowess. There's Song Woo-yong, who's just brilliant from central midfield, making those late runs into the box. Great technical quality. Shalan Sulaiman, as we're seeing there, leading the warm-up with his passing range, with his ability to dictate the tempo. And Saifullah Akbar, who's who was very impressive last season for this Sailor side.
Let's have a look at the Tampines Rovers lineup. We've just seen the Lion City Sailors, so let's show you the Tampines Rovers lineup as well, because they've got some big team news as well, and that's bad for them, because Boris Kapitovic, I might try and get the information out of Dezong on this, but Big Bad Boris, only good enough, fit enough, one assumes, not good enough for a spot on the bench. But their big signing, again, under the radar compared to all the Lion City Sailor marquees, Armin is in the starting lineup. Fascinated to see what he can do, and it is a strong side for the Stags.
It is. I mean, Yasser Hanapi is, again, a player with plenty of experience and great quality. Kyoga Nakamura in at number 8. wonderful on the ball, almost that pressing resistant sort of player, and it allows Tampines to have that platform and that ability to build out from the back in the sense that you can give it to him. He can receive it under pressure, open up the pitch for you. But looking at Bosniak there in the warm-up, I'm interested to see how he gets on here. You know, they've lost the goals and the chance creation on Jordan Webb. I'd like to see how Bosniak does in his first game in the SPL.
Well, we'll get some special insight to that shortly, because Desmond Ong, the chairman of Tampines, is going to join us. And I'm told, I hope I'm recalling this story correctly, I'm sure he'll correct me if I'm wrong, that he actually played against Boris, I think it was, back home. And Boris said, well, this guy's quite good. Why don't you go for him? And they got him. Interesting times. Now, we'll talk about Tampines with Desmond Ong in just a couple of moments, the chairman. But before we get to Desmond, let's give you an insight into how Faris Ramley is feeling. He's now a sailor back in Singapore with the favourites for the SPL title. He's been speaking to our very own Faranet.
One of Singapore's biggest prospects of this generation, Faris Ramley needs no introduction. Making his way back across the causeway, the winger will now don the blue and whites of the Lion City Sailors for the 2021 season. Hi Faris, thanks for taking the time and spending it with us. So we want to take it way back. Talk to us about when you first started playing football.
Okay, that was when I was still, I think I'm a late bloomer, I can say. I started off under Voidec. We were just playing, me, my cousin, my friends, my good friends and all. And one of a guy, just came along and saw us under Voidec. He was none other than our ex-baller, Samawira Basri. He saw me and he told me to come training. I went back and asked my parents about it, and that's where I feel like I think I want to become a football player, and that's where I think my aim starts there, my career starts there.
Nice. So you spent last year with Terengganu in the Malaysian Super League. How would you describe your time there?
Can say it was a roller coaster ride. 2020 season was just up and down. It makes me kind of grow. In a sense where as a football player and also as a person outside, it's just a journey for me, and I think that is what I wanted to take when I came back to Singapore, and in terms of like being disciplined off and on the field.
So 4 years after you left the then Home United, was it an easy decision for you to come back to the Lion City Sailors?
To be honest, no. It was totally not an easy decision for me to come back, and I still have offers from Malaysia. That's why I say it was quite a tough decision for me to make. At the end of the day, it's because of my family, my wife and my son. I just decided to stay in Singapore for a while, and I think sailors came, talked to me about the big projects that really like tuned me in, and I really like pressure. I really like this kind of things, and to look forward into it. I just can't wait to prepare myself with sailors.
On paper, you sound like the team to beat. You have the likes of Stipe Plazibat, and now you've added to your firepower with the two Brazilians, and of course they brought you back. But do you think that you're the biggest threat this season?
I wouldn't say we are the biggest threat, but I can say that I think everyone, like I said, the signings that we had, everyone has their eyes on us, but we're just gonna stick and focus on our team, and I think that's what Coach Aurelio wants to do, and I think he has big plans up on his sleeves, and the players are just raring to go and to listen to his instruction, and we take game by game.
Speaking of Aurelio, how is he like as a coach?
Yeah, last year I saw him on TV and everyone, so he was quite fierce coach, I can see. But when I get to know him, actually he's a very genuine guy. He's one of the coach that dare to do this kind of formation, to go forward and to take risks. And that's what I've been waiting for, And I'm also an attacker, so I guess this is the type of play that we want, and this is the modern football nowadays. And I just can't wait to see what else he has for us.
Now, before we end, is there anything you would like to say to the Sailors fans out there?
Yeah, of course. I would like to say to them that be patient with us. We've only just begun, and I guess we'll try to win, take some silverware out this year for you guys. I think you guys have been waiting it for quite a while right now, and I hope that you guys are happy with the signings that we had and the team right now. And we just can't wait to get you guys back and cheer us at the stadium.
It's incredible how youthful Faris Ramley still looks. Great work from our very own Farah Nair there, and we'll be seeing, I'm sure, Faris Ramley in action throughout the course of tonight. He does start on the bench for his new club, the Lion City Sailors. Local time here, don't know where you're watching around the world, just gone 5 minutes past 6 in the evening, and I'm told the revised kickoff time, because unfortunately of the inclement weather and the lightning warning system, is 6:40, 20 to 7. Great to be with Roshan, who's given us some wonderful insight. He's taken a sit down to gather his thoughts ahead of his stint on co-commentary alongside myself, but we've been lucky and blessed to be joined by the chairman of Tampines Rovers, Desmond Dong. And Des, I mean, we've been building this up, and this is not hyperbole. I think it is the most exciting season for some time. Yes, we can't have fans in yet, but on paper, all the teams seem to have strengthened. Obviously, the Sailors are getting their headlines, but as a chairman, as someone that's passionate about football, you must be delighted with how the build-up to this has gone as well.
No, absolutely. I couldn't agree more, Pat. I mean, the build-up, like you say, the teams, the way they've strengthened, it's really exciting. I mean, as a neutral, this is probably the most you've had to look forward to since the league started.
I mean, you think Tanjung Pagar United didn't win a game last season, but they've made some signings now, and they were competitive in most of their games. I mean, you know that only too well.
I agree.
They essentially cost you the title with that.
Thanks, Pat. Thanks. Thank you.
But yeah, so I think we're going to see teams, even the Tanjung Pagars, the Gaelangs, the Hougangs, they'll be taking points off you. I mean, I'm sure you hope not. They'll be taking points off the Sailors. Albirex aren't going to have a procession this year. It's as competitive as I can remember it, even though it's only 8 teams.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I couldn't agree with you more. Right. It's not just a case of taking points off the usual fancy teams. I think in and of themselves, a few of them might make a run for the title as well. So we're not going to take anything for granted this season for sure.
And there'll be teams that think, well, I'm sure you're looking forward to the AFC Champions League, which I think now is slated for June, July. Obviously, the Sailors and Gaelang have the AFC Cup. So there's teams that haven't got those commitments will be looking and saying, well, if we map out our season right, we can use that to our advantage.
Clearly. As you know, for us, qualifying for the Champions League has been a big thing. And I'd be lying if I say it wasn't at the forefront of our minds in terms of our preparation. Right? Clearly, the league is bread and butter, and we haven't won it for a while. And that's where most of our focus is. But it's hard not to get excited by the prospect of playing the Champions League.
Now we're looking at your boys warming up here. Tell us about this. I mean, obviously, everyone's going on Diego Lopez. We've seen Faris Ramley. But your marquee signing, and I use the word marquee advisedly because obviously he's very tidy for you to have signed him. But not many people know much about him. Tell us about this Armin and how he came to become a Stag.
Okay, so actually we've watched Armin for 2 years. And we were actually looking to sign him, not this season, but the previous season. And it was a sort of toss-up between him and Boris, or in fact both of them. But Jordan, wanted to spend yet another year with us. And we decided that for the moment, at least last year, we would keep Joe on for another year. So Armin's sort of been in cold storage. He's a player we know. We've kept in touch with him even during this year where he's not played for us. So we're hoping that he produces at least to the same level that Boris has for us.
And I think you telling me, or maybe Gavin was telling me, that he actually played against Boris domestically, so they're aware of each other?
Yeah, but surprisingly, they've never spoken to each other.
But they played against each other?
They have played against each other.
And so he did say to you, oh, he's all right, bring him in.
No, there's a lot of mutual respect. To be fair, a lot of our scouting back in the Balkans is done by Farah. And Farah's done a sterling job in terms of the players that he's brought over, not just in terms of ability, but in terms of them as people and players who can actually fit into the system and the way we want to do things at Tampines.
Now, obviously, we've been blessed, or cursed, I suppose some might say, with this extra long build-up pre-show. And we mentioned right at the top of the show about Gavin Lee in this matchup, Vidmar against Lee. Gavin got the better of him effectively twice last season. Vidmar unable to get the better of Gav Lee. You have to take the credit. I mean, I'm sure if you had lots of money to spend and you were bringing in marquee players, Gavin might not have got the opportunity. But you took that bold step to give a relatively unknown 30-year-old the chance to coach. He's obviously repaid you by getting to the Champions League. But let's now take this out of Tampines and into this Bring Back the Raw. We've seen Irfan Fandi win the Thai League. Most improved player in Thailand for me. I was so impressed with Jacob Marler last season. Young players coming through. And in Gavin Lee, when you talk about Bring Back the Raw and these plans that will always have cynics, you must be, as you know, I know you're a Liverpool fan, my condolences for that at the moment, but you must be someone that's now seeing light at the end of the tunnel. So it's important we get behind this initiative, and it starts with getting behind the Singapore Premier League. Again, I couldn't agree more. If today had been an open
game in regular times, I bet you Jalan Besar would have been filled.
Yeah, I think
The
you're right.
amount of excitement and people who have stopped me outside on the street saying, can we get a ticket? Can we get a ticket? Can we come in? The interest in this game has been incredible. In terms of what has been done in the recent days about bringing back the Raw, unleash the Raw, etc., etc., I think the important thing to perhaps note is that we should try and be united behind it. For too long, people have been too skeptical, and everybody's a naysayer in
Yeah,
some
and
way.
I think you didn't. I mean, I've already admitted to that openly. I think you'd have to hold your hands up and say, yes, there's been times when you've been frustrated, but I think now you have to draw a line under it and say the government are putting the money in. You know, we've got a competitive league. There's signs of light with the likes of Gavin, a young man, potentially future manager of the national team, Irfan, Jacob Marler. There's many more, Mark Ryan Tan, another youngster you've signed. There are signs of positivity here. We've got to be positive.
Yep. I would agree most of that, except the bit about Gavin. I'm not going to heap any unnecessary pressure on Gavin. I mean, Gavin's doing a good enough job for us, but he's still got a long way to go, and he's still got a lot to learn. And credit to the boy, he turns up at 7 a.m. every morning on non-game days, and he leaves the office no earlier than 7 p.m. He puts the hours in. It's his vocation. And you'd be hard-pressed to not think highly of someone who puts that much effort into his job.
Okay, which leads me now. We're talking about $3 million a lot, so I'll give you a $3 million question. Twice last season, Vidmar tried to beat Gavin Lee. The Status tried to beat the Stags, couldn't do it. What is your big map prediction for the game, which will start, I promise you now, in just under half an hour's time? What are you going for? Correct score prediction from you.
Okay, I'm going to sidestep that slightly. I don't think it's fair to pit this as Vidmar against Gavin. I think Vidmar has enough credentials to show that he's been a good coach, and it's going to take some time for the players to adapt to his style.
Okay, you can sidestep that, but what's your match prediction? You can't sidestep that one. You get one free pass and you've just used it.
I think it's going to be cagey. I think both teams are going to sit back a bit and find out how each other are playing. We've prepared on the basis this week that the foreigners weren't playing anyway. Right.
So you guessed right there.
Yeah, I mean, given what we heard coming out of their camp about their difficulties with the yo-yo test and so on and so forth, and they might just be a bit undercooked at the moment. But cliched as it may sound, it's going to be a long season for them and for us, and there are going to be a lot of games to play. And I don't think a defeat for either team at this stage is necessarily going to prove fatal.
Okay.
Yeah?
So what's the prediction? What's the score?
I think it's going to be a low-scoring game, and I think the one goal might just nick it either way.
Yeah, but very important. Low-scoring game, but very exciting. Don't go anywhere. It's going to be well worth watching this tactical masterclass between two of the top managers in the league, yeah?
Fair enough. I'll give you that.
Well, you certainly won't be going anywhere, will you? You're going to be glued to your seat down there.
Well, to be fair, I mean, as a Singaporean, I'm very excited by some of the talent that you see on the young Lions. I beg your pardon, the Lion City side even, right? Hassan Sani, we know the quality he has made in Tampines. Shadan Sulaiman, the quality he has made in Tampines. Saifullah Akbar, the quality he has made in Tampines. Amirul Adli, the quality he has made in Tampines. Are you getting the gist of it?
Yeah, I'm getting the gist. You think they keep picking your pockets?
I didn't say that, mate. You said it.
Okay.
But there are enough players for the national coach to sit up and be interested in what's going on pitch this evening. And there's going to be a lot of our best talent on show tonight. So may the best team win.
Des, many thanks for joining us indeed. So kick-off now is what? Just over 20 minutes away. We're counting down. Desmond Dong, the chairman of Tampines Rovers, will be getting his seat down. And he's right, you know, the next time this game is played here, you probably won't be able to buy a ticket. So for now, you've got the best seat in the house live on Singtel StarHub, the AIA Singapore Premier League Facebook page and One Pace Sports. Stay with us. More build-up and kick-off coming soon.
And indeed, members are making improvements in their health. Even the vitality age gap has narrowed to less than a year. Best of all, you earn points for every activity. The higher your status, the greater the rewards, including up to 15% off insurance premium on selected AIA plans. To keep you going, there is the weekly fitness challenge, with personalized targets to help pace and improve your fitness. When you complete the challenge, you get a spin on the Vitality wheel to earn Vitality coins, which you can use at the marketplace. That's not all. You also earn AIA Vitality points for completing these activities. And very soon, you'll be on your way to Platinum status. And we sweeten the deal further with many exciting partner benefits that you can enjoy. With AIA Vitality, nothing gets better than a healthier you. So get onto AIA Vitality today, because your health is every choice you make.
It's a brand new AIA Singapore Premier League season, and we kick off with a blockbuster. Champions League bound Tampines Rovers visit the Sailors of the Lion City, complete with the league's first ever $1 million player. Last season, Aia Vitality tried and failed twice to get the better of Gavin Lee. Can he make it third time lucky tonight? It's the Sailors up against the Stags on the opening weekend of the AIA Singapore Premier League. It's next, and it's live. Welcome back live to the Jalan Stadium. It's going to be worth the wait, I promise you. A little later than the advertised time. It's kick-off in the 2021 AIA Singapore Premier League season. Sailors Stags, it's live on Singtel Star Hub, the AIA Singapore Premier League Facebook page, and One Play Sports as well. Roshan Rai and myself have been part of the biggest pre-show for any football match played anywhere in the world, but it's been great to have Roshan's insight here. And Roshan, speaking of insight, we've already talked about the effect the delay might have on the players, but for those people that are just joining us, I'd love you to talk us through the signings that these two teams have made in the close season. We went over it earlier, but it's worth paying attention to again, because they've both made interesting incomings, and in Tampines' case, an interesting outgoing as well.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at some of the names on there, Faris Ramley is the one that really stands out for me from a local talent perspective. You know, wonderful qualities, a known quantity. We've touched on him a little bit earlier on. Some of these young players in there as well, Justin Hui and Nur Adam Abdullah. Then, of course, we can't forget to mention Diego Lopez. What is it, about 3 million Singapore dollars he's come in from Rio Ave. At the peak of his career, you like to think as well, 26 years of age. Doesn't quite make the squad for this match, but look, it's a long season. I'm sure we'll get to see his talents at some point.
And of course, Tampines Rovers themselves have been busy-ish in the transfer market, not on the scale of the Lion City Sailors, but Armin is their man that they're expecting to help pull the strings in midfield and fill that gap left by the departure. And despite what he did against Tanja Bagal last season, it is a loss of Jordan Webb.
It certainly is. And again, I've touched on Armin Bosniak and the qualities that he needs to bring to this Tampines Rovers side. I've seen a bit of him in certain moments, very quick with how he moves the ball, can play out on the left, shift it in onto his right foot, can even play as a false nine perhaps. And when you look at some of those names there as well, the names that stick out, Irfan Najib for me is a very talented young central defender. Mark Ryan Tan is another exciting talent to keep an eye out on. He'll get an opportunity right from the start in this game. So what a big test it is for him. What a big opportunity for some of these players coming on.
It was very difficult earlier to get predictions from anyone, but time to put you on the spot. Ooh. You're paid the big bucks, Roshan Rai. What is going to be the score on opening day? Hashtag game on between the Sailors and the Stags here at Jalan Besar.
I feel like I need to sit on the fence a little bit here. Opening game of the season, there's always a risk that it might be a little bit cagey. Always concerned about the sharpness and the fitness of the players coming in. Still looking for that match fitness, match sharpness. But let's hope for goals. I mean, we've waited long enough.
Yeah, come on.
Let's hope for a 2-all draw.
2-2. I'm going to keep track of your predictions through the season. 2-2, says Roshan Rai. Let us know in the comment section if you're watching online what you think the scoreline is going to be. One thing's for sure, this is the most competitive AIA Singapore Premier League season, I think, for decades. You talk about Tanja Bagal last season finishing bottom. They strengthened and they weren't rolled over by too many teams last campaign. The Young Lions always do a good job in unearthing young talent. Geylang have improved. Haag having improved. Albirex will always be there. We're in for a cracking season.
Well, we certainly are. I mean, you talk about the competitiveness of the league, some of the teams and the quality that they have, coming into the season, the players that they've brought in. And that's something that, we've looked at early on in the show as well. And we've touched on the fact that this could be such a interesting season because of the styles of play on display as well from some of these sides. You know, and I'm looking forward to seeing how it goes. You know, Hougang, as you mentioned, with a revamping of their squad, Tomoyuki Doi coming into that attacking lineup that they've got over there. Shahril Ishak moving over there from the Lion City Sailors, and you know, we've just hit on Lion City Sailors and Tampines Rovers and the changes that they've made to their squads. Tanjung Pagar as well, you know, last season finishing bottom of the table, bringing in the likes of Khairul Amri into the squad. Nishiguchi, Blake Rashuto, who was excellent for DPMM a few seasons ago. And, you know, they'll be hoping to do a lot better. Geylang with Silvano Convalius coming into the squad, being that focal point, that target man, that big striker, that number 9 that they've been looking for a while. So plenty of talent to look forward to this season in the SPL. And look, these two sides coming out here. I mean, we've spoken about new signings, but what about some of the players that have been here, have been performing all this while in Singapore? You're talking about the likes of Shadan Sulaiman with his quality and ability in central midfield. Song Ui-yong, who has been outstanding for Lion City Sailors and for Home United before that. Just with his goals and quality from midfield. Gabriel as well. He had a great season last time out, 9 assists and 5 goals. Stipe Plazibat, top scorer last season. Could go on and on. Kyoga Nakamura, just got wonderful technical quality out on display on the park here today, and it's going to be a real treat for the viewers at home.
So our match officials leading the teams out, led out by one of the best in the business. Jansen Fu will be the man in the middle here this afternoon with that distinctive bald pate. Not that I'm one to talk, but Jansen Fu is ready as the anthem strikes up. And finally, it's going to be worth the wait, folks, with the time ticking round to 20 to 7 in the evening, local time this Saturday night in Singapore. The kickoff of the 2021 AIA Singapore Premier League season is with us. The Sailors coming out first, led by their skipper, Hassan Sunny, of course, a mainstay of the national team. We won't see the Brazilians today. We'll confirm that for you in a minute, but we might see Faris Ramley off the bench, and in Stipe Plazibat, as Roshan's already said, they have probably the most natural goal scorer in the league. Would you second that, Roshan?
Yeah, I'd say so. I mean, look, there's some really good finishers in the league at the moment. Doi is another one whose quality in and around the box, in the penalty area. But Stipe Plazibat, I mean, just his consistency in this league year on year, with initially with Home United, with Hougang, now with the Lion City Sailors last season in there as well, scoring 9 goals for them, 14 overall in the league. Another 4 in the AFC Cup last year. Before that, the competition was discontinued. Look, he's incredible finisher, yes, but he also brings his teammates into play in those forward positions.
A reminder, 3 substitutes allowed. There'll be water breaks midway through each half. And the tactics will come into play because not just the players on the pitch going toe-to-toe. Aurelio Vidmar, a coach who comes with continental quality against Gavin Lee. He'll be pitting his wits against the continent's best in the Champions League later on in the season. But for now, as Gavin said earlier on when he spoke to Farinair, his focus is all on trying to go one better than last season when the Stags were runners-up. And of course, on that occasion, they finished above the Lion City Sailors and took 4 points off them in 2 games. The 2 skippers about to meet in the middle for the toss. Jansen Fu, assisted by Ronnie Koh, Jay Ashakraj and Mohamed Taufik Tana, who'll be the 4th official. Thank goodness there's no VAR in the Singapore Premier League. That's what I can say. Bring back the rule by all means, but don't bring VAR on these shores. Hassan Sunny lining up against Yasir Hanapi, the long-time skipper of the Stags. And they'll pose for the pre-match photos as we can check out the team lineups. Talk us through the Lion City Sailors. Obviously, the 2 Brazilians are the biggest absentees there. We'll have to wait a while longer for Diego Lopez, but quality abounds throughout.
Plenty of quality in that lineup. I really like Amirul, obviously coming up against his former club here, playing in perhaps a central defensive role alongside Tajeli. Tajeli, for me, doesn't get enough credit for the qualities that he brings to this Lion City Sailors side. One of the underrated players in the league. You look at this Tampines Rovers lineup, Yasir Hanapi, brilliant, Mr. Consistency year on year in the league. Kyoga Nakamura, as I mentioned, just his technical quality in those areas. Mehmedovic as well is another one. Really good midfielders on the ball. Boris Kopitovic, I think perhaps that's a big surprise for us being on the substitutes bench here, but it's an opportunity to change things up for them a little bit later on if they feel the need to.
Well, listen, the Boris being on the bench thing, as Aurelio Vidmar is taking his seat in the dugout, a bit like the absence of the Brazilians, the motto being seemingly from the 2 coaches, it's a long, hard season. They've both got continental football to worry about it. It's all very well saying that. They will know 3 points here is a dream start. I genuinely don't think we'll be seeing either side settle for a draw if the game's there to be won in the final quarter.
No, I don't think so. But having said that, again, it is really a very long season. There's lots of football to go, lots of planning, lots of squad management, lots of workload to manage there. As you see, Gavin Lee, a really talented young coach, and you know, he's proven his worth with Tampines. He's already picked up a bit of silverware for them.
Now, I know Lion City Sailors have got a lot of money, but have they actually paid for an organ to be in the stadium? For you're happy and you know it, clap your hands. Their motto is all hands on deck. It's all hands on deck for you watching at home, live on Singtel Star Hub, the AIA Singapore Premier League Facebook page, and One Play Sports across social media as well. The long wait is over. We bring back the Raw, starting with bringing back the SPL on the most competitive looking division that the season has seen in many a year. It'll be the Lion City Sailors in their white and blue shorts playing from left to right. Tampines Rovers in their black playing from right to left. Can you pick who's going to come out on top last season? It was 1-1 when the teams met at Bishan, which was then a home game for the Sailors in the latter half of last season. And Aurelio Vidmar's yet to get the better of Gavin Lee. An early touch for Hassan Sunny. And an early whistle for Jansen Fu with the first foul being committed on Zayrudin, who scored twice in the 2 games that these 2 teams played each other in last season, Roshan.
Yeah, I mean, again, looking at his quality there, the Jelly just very early on looking to just make sure he knows he's there. Bit of a disagreement between that 2 early on, but Tajeli just putting his foot in early on.
The surface, obviously an artificial surface, looks magnificent. It was relayed as part of the extensive redevelopment of Jalan Besar, more inside the corridors of power than on the pitch, but one thing that's come of it is a pristine playing service, which you hope will see some exciting football. Trying to play it out from the back, the Sailors, with a touch for Tajeli, one of the men to watch from Roshan Rai earlier on, and a very slow tempo early. It's been touched upon in the build-up, Roshan. Neither side able to play a raft of pre-season friendlies. I think each side basically managed 1 apiece, so cramp may become a factor and maybe not explosive from the start, we don't think.
Well, when you look at Tampanese's lineup off the ball early on, it looks like they're setting up in a 4-4-2, pretty high block. You know, you've got that defensive line close to the halfway point of the pitch, and you're seeing Yasser up front alongside Mehmedovic when they are out of possession. Instructions very quickly to go out and press whenever Lion City Sailors are looking to try and play out.
Yeah, so Jansen Fu's whistle has been quite busy early on in this. But that's not a reoccurring theme as the throw goes the way of Tampines Rovers. And of course, Faris Ramley and Boris Kopinovic on the bench means that there could be plenty of ebbs and flows in this one. Unfortunately, no news yet of a start at Jurong East, where Albirex are also in action tonight, the defending champions.
Just having a look at the Sailors, how they're setting up here, also looking to just try and get themselves squeezing Tampines in their own defensive third there.
Touch for Madhu. He's one of the characters of Singapore football. Not accustomed really to a starting role for much of last season, but he's got the start in the first game of the campaign. As both these sides, I think there's a feeding out process going here, and it'll be interesting to see who tries to get adventurous first.
Yeah, also just does look like a 4-4-2 for the Sailors off the ball.
Stipe Plazabat with the ball at feet facing goals, always a worrying threat, but they managed to break it down quite quickly. Over the top, looking for the run of Armin, the new boy, who looks to me to be playing in a more advanced role than he would necessarily if Boris was playing. I think that's probably a very fair assessment. More known really as an attacking midfield player. Looks almost like he's going to be playing that front man role, which can sometimes, if you're not getting much possession, be a very lonely place, Roshan.
Yeah, it certainly can, and that's why it's key to get that support into you as soon as they can. If they're going to be playing these longer balls, as Gabriel sends an early cross in, they don't quite have runners in front of him. Stipe just holding his position on the edge of the box. It's Saifullah, looks like Saifullah and Stipe just in that front 2 out of possession. So Saifullah will be given a bit of license to roam when they are in possession of the ball. Just looking to wreak a bit of havoc in front of that Tampines defence.
I tell you what, Shazwan, this game could have been played with no floodlights at 1 in the morning and you still be able to pick out Shazwan with that pink kit. My word, it's the pinkest goalkeeping kit I've ever seen. The Stags trying to play it out with Zainuddin Mehmedovic. And again, it's end-to-end stuff, but not in the exciting manner that we perhaps were hoping in the first 4 minutes. But it's only going to take one moment of brilliance or one moment of skill to open this up. Now, trying to dink it out from the back is Amarul. Given some time around the halfway line there, and that's a peach of a ball if it finds its target, and find its target it has. It's come all the way to Haikal. Now cutting inside, looking up for options. Nice 1-2 play by Gabriel Quack. Laid wide by Plazibat. This is danger! And the breakthrough is made inside 5 minutes. The early goal this game so badly needed. And it's a scoring start for Song Ul-yong, who scores the first goal of the AIA Singapore Premier League 2021 season. And I hate to say it, Roshan Rai, that looked oh too easy.
Well, the build-up play here was brilliant from Lion City Sailors. Just have a look at Noor Adam. He's being invited to drift inside. Gabriel Kwak, as I touched on, starting his position out wider, but then moving infield. Just look at the numbers that they have in those central positions, occupying those spaces there, overloading that Tampines defense. They're all over the place. And then you've got Haikal with a late run, providing that option for Stipe Plazibat, and then Song Ul-yong with his run from midfield. Nice little finish in the end. Great start for the Lion City Sailors. Good tempo to their opening 5-6 minutes of this match. So,
assist from Michael. Goal from Song Ul-yong, and it could get a lot worse, a lot quickly. Gabriel Quack, it's two! Goodness gracious me, they scored twice in 60 seconds! And the millionaire boys of the Lion City Sailors are making a statement early here. The Stags in utter disarray. Gabriel Quack walked through them like a knife through butter and slided it past Shazwan. What a start for the Sailors.
Incredible start from the Lion City Sailors. Again, that space just to drive into Gabriel there. Pushing on, that defense is backing off because he's got runners ahead of him. Have a look at Shaifullah's run, taking away by Haki. You've got Stipe taking away Madhu. That midfield from Tampines not being able to drop in quick enough. Shah and Nakamura there. And he just beats the goalkeeper at the near post.
Well, talk about a statement early. Gabriel Quack, who topped the assist charts in last year's Singapore Premier League and chipped in with 5 goals as well. He's got his first goal of the season. Now, is there going to be a response straight away here from Yasir? He just lost the ball under his feet as it looked like it was opening up in front of him. Well, I was a little bit panicked after the first 3 minutes, Roshan. I thought this might be a dull and dour affair, but scratch that. Business has picked up very quickly here at Jalan Besar, and Tampines need a response quickly here, Roshan, don't they? They need to get back into it, but similarly, at 3-0, the game would be over. It
certainly would, and they smell blood at the moment, the Sailors, and they're going for it. And this is what you get. You look at the tempo that they've started at, the intensity that they're moving the ball around, the players are moving off the ball as well, providing options in those areas. Tampines just look really caught off guard.
Saifullah ended up losing out there. It's trying to play it out from the back, and it's backfired. And that's left space on the far side for Stipe Plazibat. His assist-making is an often underlooked part of his game as well. He really is so versatile up top, even though he's got the look of that traditional big man. And this has opened up for a potential chance. I'm not sure Shardan realised there was some empty space in front of him there, and the chance has gone. Nakamura playing it out. Now they spread it wide. This is more like it, but they need support up top because at the moment Armin's all on his own and the reinforcements aren't exactly arriving quickly. Armin, now they've got Yasir trying to get into the middle, but the chance has gone, and that was a concern for me, Roshan. They didn't show much support.
Yeah, this is that's a bit of an issue for them, Tampines Rovers, because those opportunities in those counter-attacking situations, first of all, was really good work by Nakamura. Just as that attacking move from the Sailors broke down, he was allowed to carry it forward through that midfield, and then a quick switch out to that left-hand side into Bosniak, but there wasn't enough support arriving. It was too slow to arrive.
Here they come again, though. This is more like it from Tampines. Yasir with a 1-2. They get into the area. Narrow angle for Zainuddin. He couldn't get the shot away, but at least there's been a response from the Stags.
Yeah, you just feel they need to settle down a little bit, get a bit of possession, get a bit of time on the ball in these situations, looking a little bit shell-shocked.
Gabriel Quack, who is for me the player of the season last year by street, looking lively early, but it was made far too easy for him the way it opened up in front of him. Remember, if you're a Lion City Sailor, and I'm sure Aurelia Vidmar, bearing in mind what happened to them at our Tampines hub, well, probably not far off, a year ago when they lost 4-0 after that second half hammering. They need to send the kind of statement tonight that the Stags sent that night at OTH when they were framing themselves as the big challengers to Albirex Niigata. And remember, this is all without the two Brazilian signings. If you're just joining us, unfortunately, Diego Lopez unable, the $3 million signing, to make the matchday squad today. Remains to be seen whether we see him on Wednesday. That's a good ball over the top. Gabriel Quack's got pace. Manu! Well, I think Manu took a gamble there, Roshan, but I think it's a gamble that was worth taking because he was in a bit of bother pace-wise, and even though it looked dangerous, I think he knew what he was doing, chipping it over his own
Look, they're
bar.
seriously getting overloaded here, Tampines Rovers. You look at the runs from midfield there, you had two options to hit. Baihaki gets dragged into the center of the park, following Stipe Plazibat's run into that area. And then you've got Song Ui-yong and Gabriel in there, making late runs, opportunities. Madhu Mohana getting caught in the 2-on-1. Thankfully for Tampines, he was able to get his foot onto that ball there.
It's the first corner of the season at Jalan Besar. And let's see what they're like at set pieces. I'm sure this is something that Aurelio Vidmar's been working hard on the training ground. It's the former Stag Chardin to take it. Headed away, only as far as the edge of the area, but the flag was up. And there'll be a free kick to allow Tampines to alleviate the pressure. But 10 minutes in, 2 goals already. It's living up to its billing to this point. What would interest me is if Tampines could get a goal and get right back into this. They've got Boris to call upon on the bench. Remember, of course, the Sailors with Faris Ramley, a familiar face to many fans of Singapore football. He's on the bench for the Lion City Sailors tonight. But having seen what Gabriel Quack's done to this side early, the thought of maybe Quack and Adam Swandy together in the second half would, you'd fill Tampines Rovers fans with dread, never mind the players.
Here it is for Tampines. As they're trying to build, you see their left back, Irwan Shah, just moving into a central position, just to give them a bit more of an option in those central areas. We did see a little bit of that from Tampines last season as well. It is a bit of a pattern for them. What it also does is it gives them a passing option straight out to Bosnek down this left-hand side. There we go, Irwan Shah making a run into a central position there, leaving that space for Bosniak to work with, but almost a situation where he was outnumbered 2-on-1.
Nice work from Armin though, and they've managed to spread it over to that right-hand side with Armin approaching in the middle. Yassir is there as well. Armin's in a bit of space if they can find him. They cut inside, they get it to Armin eventually. His first touch is slightly heavy, but he still manages to go round. Now, can he deliver across? There are 4 black shirts waiting in the penalty area. They're going to at least try and win a corner here. That's well worked defensively, and I think, oh no, is that a foul drawn? It is, so they'll get an opportunity. For those of you familiar with hockey, it's almost going to be like a short corner or a penalty corner here. They don't like the decision, the Sailors. What did you make of that?
I think he knows what he's doing there, Shah, in that situation. He just understands that he's isolated a little bit. He's not getting the support. He's not really going anywhere, so he is very smart just to try and draw that foul, draw that free kick. It's good play. Now,
2 of the big threats for Tampines in these situations, Boris Kapinovic and Daniel Bennett, are only on the bench, but Baihaki certainly got height, and bearing in mind he's been part of a lackluster first 5 minutes defensively for the Stags. He'd be going some way to redeeming himself. He can get it on the end of this. Cross comes in. It's a decent delivery, but Hassan Sunny claims it well. It was there to be attacked, but the keeper dominated the 6-yard box.
Yeah, in the air long enough. Good, confident goalkeeping from Hassan Sunny there. He'll give his side a bit of a boost. I mean, not that he really needs to prove anything with his experience and his quality in that position.
He's a quality individual, Hassan. We talked in the pre-show about Irfan Fandi winning the league in Thailand. Of course, Hassan Sunny taken to Army United by the former England international Gary Stevens. That helped develop him as a footballer tremendously. As the flag stays down here, it does. Stipe Plazibat was onside according to the assistant referee, and they found Gabriel Quack in space once more. Alarm bells ringing for the Stags. This to be going to be 3-0 if they find the perfect pass. But momentarily, the chance has gone. I'd be interested to look back on that offside against Stipe Plazibat that wasn't. It looked too good to be true, and when it tends to look too good to be true, it usually is. But the flag stayed down and nothing came of it, so... But we're already seeing, Roshan, you've alluded to it, when they come forward, the Sailors, there's options galore. When the Stags come forward, they're almost desperately waiting for the support to be arrived.
Yeah, you can see the difference in intensity at the moment, just how quickly the Lion City Sailors moving forward as a team. There is support arriving, there's options for the player on the ball in those positions, whereas we saw earlier in that counter-attacking area with Bosniak, just a little bit isolated. Support was a little bit too slow to arrive. Yasir Hanapi takes a bit of contact there, but doesn't get the free kick.
Yeah, it looked like a trip. There wasn't too many full-hearted appeals. And Yasir's not one of the shy ones, is he? He tends to make his feelings known. But he was closer to the action, so maybe it wasn't at the end of the world. That's something for Zairina Mehmedovic to chase down, and he's put a bit of pressure on Tajeli. Yasir Hanapi now. Oh, that was a little bit naughty. I think in the second half that might have got Yasir Hanapi a booking, but early on, Jansen Fu erring on the side of cautions. Did he have a little go at the back?
Oh,
that's
yeah.
dangerous. I thought I saw that in real time. He's very fortunate. That's right under the referee's nose as well. I think second half, that's a booking all day long.
Studs into the calf of Shadan there, who showed good quality on the ball.
They've won the ball here well, Tampines. Shah gets it out to Zairudin. They're coming back into this game slowly, Tampines. Zairudin Mehmedovic, he scored twice against the Sailors last season, and he finds the ball into Yasir Hanapi, who was onside but just couldn't get the purchase. And I wonder in hindsight whether, if you're Zairudin Mehmedovic in that situation, you don't pull the trigger, Roshan.
Well, you just have a look at the space that opens up for him here. Tajeli's backing off, looking to protect that space. And then you've got a run of Nakamura, also taking Nakyudin out. He could have had a crack at goal, I think, Mehmedovic, in that situation. Certainly has the ability and the technical quality to hit them from range.
But right up the other end, and look at the space the Sailors find with Heikel over on that far side. Fascinating game, this, because, again, I might be getting ahead of myself, but I'm not entirely sure on the evidence of what we've seen with the understrength Tampines that the defensive issues the Sailors have been completely solved. Very early on, I might end up with egg on my face as they pick up a clean sheet later on, but I'm just getting that feeling, and that, I think, Stipe catching Zairudin. Still plenty of goals in this game, I fancy. All those naysayers that thought we might get a drab 0-0 draw with both teams settling for a point, well, that's out the window inside 5 minutes, inside 4 minutes, really. What are you thinking of Armin early on? First chance to look at him in action, Roshan.
Yeah, he's looking lively early on. I mean, they're always looking for him, and here he is once again right through the middle.
Oh, very nearly got there. They might get it out wide, but I think having seen Armin go down, they settled for the throw. But there's space opening up for both teams. It's exciting, high-octane stuff. And some of the individual skills we're seeing on display, we've seen already some from Armin, from Zairudin, and, of course, from Gabriel Quack. I'm interested, and I'm liking what we're seeing through the first 16.5 minutes of the season, Roshan.
Yeah, I'm certainly enjoying it, too. I mean, you got those 2 goals early on. Fantastic quality by the Sailors, and then Tampines now working their way back into this game.
Into the area, Yasir Hanapi lays it off, shot comes in, blocked back to Yasir, into the area, they want handball! They're absolutely screaming for a penalty, but Jansen Fu's unmoved. Zairudin is screaming at the assistant referee on the far side, who you'd think would have to help the referee in that situation, but nothing giving. Armin. Ball is plucked out the air by Hassan Sunny. Let's have a look at this if you can and dissect this. Was there a shout for a penalty?
Yeah.
Was it a pen?
Yeah, look, immediately I thought you're going to have to give it here because his arm's up away from his body. It's in an unnatural position. That's a penalty for me. I would have given the penalty 100%. They've gotten away with that one. Tajeli, have a look at this again. That touch, yeah, it's a clear handball.
Back to the live action, and Tampines coming forward once again. That's at least, I think, going to give them some encouragement. They've managed to penetrate this Lion City Sailors defence early on. Sure, the Sailors are going to be sharp coming forward, but there's signs of life in Tampines, even though they've effectively given the Sailors a 2-goal start here.
That's so much better from Tampines Rovers, and we touched on this early on. Shell-shocked, looking shell-shocked after that quick start from Lion City Sailors. He just needed a spell of possession, and they started to grow into the game, and they're starting to apply lots of pressure there.
Yasir, perfect for a right foot of this, to swing this in to the edge of the 6-yard box, and there's the penalty shout again. Roshan Rice told you he thinks it was a penalty. Jansen Fu was there, wasn't given. Yasir, decent delivery! And Hassan Sunny had to get something to that. I think it was bending in, Roshan.
What a game of football we've got here, Patrick. I mean, we picked it up. We had a huge pre-match show, about an hour and a half or so. I mean, have a look at the quality on this one there. Hassan Sunny almost gets caught underneath it. Just does enough to squeeze it over the line.
I think that was drifting in, wasn't it? What it has led to is the first corner for Tampines to try and penetrate now. Look at the big boys up from the back. Bai Haki is there for the set piece. There's plenty of height in Armin as well. So, Tampines, can they get back into this inside 20 minutes? Another shout! And they're back in business! Madu with with the goal! It's Sailors 2, Stags 1, and boy oh boy, is this curtain raiser living up to the bidding here at Jalan Besar. Roshan Wright.
Well, I asked for goals and we're getting them thick and fast. 3 goals in the opening 19 minutes of this game. They were shouting for another handball there, but Madhu plays on, never mind. Puts it in the back of the net, no drama. And they're back in this one, Tampines Rovers. What a game we've got here, Patrick King on.
Well, we've learned already what we knew from last season. The Sailors are muster going forward and very questionable at the back. I'm sure you could say the same, to be fair, of Tampines Rovers, bearing in mind the 2 goals they conceded. But what it is giving us, Roshan, is open, attractive football, goals galore, and something for everyone at home to get their teeth into.
Listen, if you've been waiting at home patiently for this game to kick off, you've been rewarded big time with some excellent football on display here. Great goals as well. And a game is back on. I mean, look at this. And it's Tampines on the front foot this time.
They gave away a 2-goal start, remember. It was oh so easy for the Sailors in the 5th and 6th minutes when Song Woo-Yong and Gabriel Crack made it 1 and 2-0. But Tampines, that goal had been coming, hadn't it?
Well, they're feeling a lot better about themselves. Back into this match as well. And you're feeling a bit hard done by perhaps at not getting that penalty. Didn't let it affect them though. So good character to pull one back and back in it now.
Well, Hassan Sunny beaten for the first time this season. Plays it short again. You're a football scientist, so you're going to poo-poo me here. I'm not a fan of those short goal kicks. It's one of my pet hates, the short goal kicks that now. And look what's happened here. They've invited Tampines forward again, but the pass doesn't find any black shirts near it in the area, and they should be able to play it out with Naikudin. When we finally get a respite in the action, Roshan, I want to hear your thoughts on those short goal kicks at now de rigueur. That's if we get a break in the action. Yasser Hanapi, lovely footwork from Armin, who's impressing. It's all Tampines now. They didn't get a kick for the first 5 minutes, but from about the quarter of an hour mark, they've been knocking on the door. They've got 1 goal back, and you wouldn't bet against them the way things are going, being all square by half-time. Nakamura, the string puller in the middle of the park, getting it back to Baihaki. Nakamura looking up. Yasser. He's dispossessed, and of course this is the danger as they come forward trying to equalise. They could be caught out of the back. And Stipe Plazabat inadvertently handling that, I think. But yes, quick word from you on those short goal kicks, Roshan.
Yeah, you know, I mean, there are obviously purposes to it. You want to try and draw out the press. You want to draw the opposition towards you. And then there'll be opportunities in behind that you can go and try and look at exploit. Of course, in any situation, you're taking a risk. I'll come back to that as we see Mark Ryan Tan in this position here.
Yeah, Mark Ryan Tan, once of the Young Lions, now with the Stags, and he does very well indeed there. Can he reach this before it goes out? He's screaming that there was a touch off a Sailor. That falls on deaf ears from the assistant referee over on that far side. And again, Mark Ryan Tan's been part of this improved showing from Tampines in the last 10 minutes, and I think we're getting already to see that he's capable of much more than he showed at the Young Lions, even though he showed glimpses there when he's playing with stronger players around him. Not stronger, I think more developed, more experienced team unit around him.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. And, it's a benefit to him as well in his career that he's getting. He's going to be getting a lot of this game time for Tampines Rovers. He's working with some of more experienced players, as you mentioned. And no doubt, I mean, the quality of the teammates he's surrounded by as well goes up. So, it'll be interesting to see how he gets on. Very talented young player. He's got his head on right as well. Good attitude. Always wants to learn. And when you've got that, and when you sort of marry that with the talent that he has, he's got the ability to become a big player for Singapore football in the future.
Nice one-touch football from Gabriel Quack. Finds it to the near side. And come down the right now. Space opening up for Saifullah. And it's Shazwan's turn to grasp something out of the air. See, Naikudin's not shy of getting forward at every opportunity. Incredible. First 3 minutes. Be honest with me, Roshan. I'm sitting next to the first 3 minutes. We've had to give this game 90 minutes of build-up because of the delay. And I'm thinking, oh, my God, what have we done here? It was a bit tepid. It was a bit slow. It was a bit low intensity. But the early goals, I mean, they say sometimes goals make a game early on. And that's definitely the case here, isn't it? Because one thing's for certain. We've got half of the first half to go with the drinks break on the way. And then the second half. There's going to be more twists and turns in this, I fancy.
Yeah, you'd think so. And to be fair, I thought Lion City Sailors actually, the intensity at the start was spot on. It was Tampines that looked a little bit slow off the blocks, and it showed in the scoreline. They were able to absolutely punish this Tampines Rovers side. who've taken a bit of time to get going, but the momentum has shifted, and here they are.
They've given it away again. Here come the Stags. Mark Brian Tan, he's got support on the overlap. So Rudin, he went on his own. And it did take a deflection. They'll at least get a corner out of it, and they'll take the drinks break just before the corner. So this is almost like NBA basketball. Timeout just before you have to defend a set piece. I'm not sure Radio Vidmar or Gavin Lee, or a combination of both, will like that. Now, I must apologise. Obviously, very frustrating when we have slight streaming issues. If you are experiencing streaming issues, I can only apologise. One bit of advice I can give you is so many platforms carrying these games this season. Singtel, StarHub, the AIA Singapore Premier League Facebook page, One Play Sports as well. So do bear with us. I do apologise if there's a slight lag on the stream. We're doing our best behind the scenes to try and remedy it, but I do hope you haven't missed much of the action, because it's been absorbing stuff, Roshan, right?
Yeah, it certainly has. I mean, we picked this game up, two sides with lots of quality, and the technical quality has been excellent, but also the intensity that they're playing at has been brilliant to watch. Very quick, both squeezing the line, squeezing the units together, very compact in terms of their shape. Certain situations, which sounds strange to say when you look at the fact that there's been 3 goals in the opening 20 minutes or so of this game. But they're both trying to apply high pressure on each other. They're trying to force the issue and trying to force mistakes from the opposition.
And again, let's not kid ourselves, a very unconventional pre-season as we see that magnificent branding that the Sailors have installed over on that far side. I'm assuming someone's got to fold that up tomorrow, because the Young Lions are playing it tomorrow. They can't leave that up tomorrow. But yeah, I think the fact that the pre-season's been a bit stop-start, not many pre-season games, fitness might be an issue. There's going to be mistakes that creep in as well. I mean, we think it's not been perfect so far. Second stanza, some of those fresh legs off the bench like Boris, like Faris Ramley, could absolutely have a field day.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think there's any doubt that we will see a dip in tempo at some point. You know, you can't keep playing at this intensity so early on as well. I mentioned the fact that match fitness and match sharpness is going to be something that might take a bit of time to build, as you see Yase getting ready to take this corner.
Yeah, mercifully short water break. Yase Henapik and Tampines level it up from this set piece. Hassan Sunny's come. He's a great puncher of the ball. Hassan Sunny got plenty of distance in there, and as an added bonus, found a white shirt. Now, how many numbers have the Sailors committed forward here? Not that many, but there's not many Stags back either. And that's a lovely first touch that's opening him up. Gabriel Crack is screaming for it on the right. They play it through the middle. Flag stays down, and it's over the bar. Gilt-edged opportunity for Song Il-yong, I think it was. And he skied it, Roshan.
I'll tell you what, that was great play by Saifullah, though. I mean, I thought the pass was on to Stipe down the left-hand side, but he just waited, he waited. You see the support that arrives. You've got Gabriel down the right-hand side as well. That back line from Tampines, Shahiran, I think it was, playing Song Il-yong onside there. He's got all the time in the world. In the end, he just gets caught underneath it.
I tell you what, that's a coach's nightmare, isn't it, when your back line is standing still with the arms raised up in the air when the play's still going on around them. It's the first rule of football show business, isn't it? Play to the whistle. They were teaching you that when you were still in nappies, weren't they, Roshan?
Yeah, that's always the first thing you get taught. The first thing you get shouted at you when you're on the pitch is play to the whistle when you don't get decisions going your way. But it was good work by Saifullah once again, you know, taking his time to pick the right pass into Song, and he should have absolutely buried that. Had Gabriel in acres of space on the right-hand side as well, which on hindsight, I think he'll be looking back at it thinking, yeah, I should have played him in.
Well, if you're just joining us, and if you are just joining us, I'm not sure why, because if the game had kicked off on time, it'd nearly be finished. But if you're just joining us, you're in for a treat over the next hour and a half or so. The news from Jalan on the opening day of the season so far: 2 goals in the first 6 minutes, 1 on 4 minutes from Song Il-yong, a second from Gabriel Quack. Seconds later gave the Sailors an early advantage, and they looked like they were going to run riot, but Tampines have done brilliantly to get back into it, and Madhu, from a set piece after they've been denied what looked a stonewall penalty, has made it very much game on here. Well watched by Bahaki, but he's only managed to find the Lion City Sailors shirt, and here they come again. Lovely outside of the foot pass from Song Il-yong. They're in again for number 3. Stipe flushes his lines, and then Gabriel Crack blazes it wide. They should have it 3-1 there, Roshan Rai. Another great opportunity goes begging. Yeah,
it's Stipe with the opportunity that he should be putting away. Again, what a swift flowing move here. This is from the Lion City Sailors. Song Il-yong with a peach of a pass with the outside foot. Plus, when you look at him there, he's got his hands on his head. He knows he should be doing better in that situation. Again, Haikal that outlet down the left-hand side.
Yeah, Gabriel Quack as well. I mean, if you're going to give Stipe a pass, I suppose that if the ball was just not in front of him, he almost had to check his run, which probably led to him blazing it over. But the chances have been created here. I'm just looking at the shot count. Bizarrely, on the stats I've got in front of me, Tampines have had more shots on goal than the Lion City Sailors in this game so far. It doesn't feel like it. But as we approach the half-hour mark, all hands are on deck for both the Sailors and Tampines here.
I touched on the compactness defensively. We haven't seen it there in those transitional moments. But the compactness from Lion City Sailors in both these moments, in both those phases of attack and defense, have been really good.
Heavy touch. Naikudin will be disappointed in himself there. But again, that attacking brand of football that they've been playing. Look how far forward Naikudin's getting up in those situations. He's not afraid to almost play as an attacking midfielder at times, even though he's going to be charged with taking care of the defence.
Well, for Naikudin, in that right-back position, his role will be pretty straightforward, with Gabriel, of course, being given that license to drift in field onto his left foot, to drift in field, to create numbers in those central areas.
Moving it quickly, Armin again. He's looking lively, this Armin, isn't he? They're frightened to go near him. Armin to the byline. Can he try and win a corner or look for support? Looks like it's going to be the latter. Now he goes back the other way. They're giving him plenty of respect. It doesn't come off on that occasion. As I'm being told, incidentally, well, it's going to be a bumper night for AIA Singapore Premier League fans. Kick-off at Jurong East is now set for 7:30 as Albirex take on Hougang in the other Saturday night game. Reminder, tomorrow, Young Lions take on Balestier here. And I'll be looking forward to going to our Tampines hub where Geylang take on Tanjung Pagar. I'm really looking forward to seeing the Jaguars this season because they've made some interesting signings. They've got a great little coaching set up there. No Adam Shah obviously putting some strings behind the scenes. And for all that they were, didn't win a game last season, there's signs of life in them with a couple of signings. You think they might, won't have the strength and depth of some of the others, but their first 11 will give plenty of good teams things to worry about this season, Roshan.
Well, certainly the expectation for them this season would be to do a lot better than they did last time out, which isn't going to be that hard considering they didn't win a game.
I know, but the thing about that, Roshan, and you're quite right to point it out, but they weren't being beaten. They lost a couple of games heavily, but no more than one or two, and they were competitive. I mean, just ask Tampines about that. They essentially cost Tampines the title.
In some games they were. Consistency was very difficult, but you can understand that. I mean, there was sort of a squad that was kind of patched together. They've had a bit more time this season. I am, just like you, looking forward to seeing how they get on, especially with the strengthening that they've done. They've brought in experience. We've touched on the likes of Cairo Lamri, Nishiguchi earlier on, Rishuto as well to help them out in central midfield. So we'll see how they get on this season.
Tampines looking much more comfortable on the ball now by Haki involved in the build-up. It's left for Yasir by Armin. To the near side it comes now. Looking to get the cross in Irwan. Armin, narrow angle deflection and into the side netting. Business is picking up here, folks. If I had to put you on the spot on what you're seeing, who do you think is most likely to get the next goal, Roshan?
Oof, I mean, in terms of
6 to 1, half a dozen to the other.
The possession that they've got, yeah, I think actually Hassan Sani is thinking there's going to be a cross that's coming in, and I think that's what Bosniak was trying to do. He just takes a heavy deflection on its way towards the near post there.
Yasir's corner. Madu was up there again. He's already got one. Armin wins it really well in the air. It's headed away by Stipe. Up back, helping his defence, and a rather risky backward header does pay off as Hassan Sani can gather. And they try to release it quickly. This was a hallmark of their play last season. Hassan Sani releasing quickly and setting them up on counter-attacks from set pieces. And they're into the area again. Sliding challenges, you've got to be very careful. My word, they were dicing with danger there, weren't they, Tampines?
Expertly done by Song Uyong, I think, initially, just to take that ball off the toes of Irwan, who looked like he was favourite to it. Kept possession of it as well and then drove into the box.
Naikudin forward again. Lovely little layoff. Naikudin plays it into Saifula. Saifula being penned in here. They'll try and win a corner and they'll have to make do with a throw. Aurelio Vidmar, well, he'd have been delighted after 6 minutes. He'll be thinking now that this is the kind of game that, you know, they could easily have control of if they'd just been a bit more disciplined.
Yeah, you just have a look at this good work by Song Uyong here initially. Unfortunately, just too much to do in that situation with Shah coming back.
Saifula to Gabriel Quack on this near side. Gabriel Quack teasing cross. And tell you what, Shazwan just for a minute hesitated, but it worked out okay for him in the end.
Yeah, good quick feet from Shazwan just to readjust.
Just to update you with our partners at Genius Sports, 2 shots on target thus far. Apiece. There's been plenty more efforts on goal than that, though. They've been pinging in left, right and centre at both ends of the field. Yasir. It's by Haki. Yasir. By Haki.
Well, that was that free man again, as I mentioned. Irwan dropping into those central positions to add numbers. And he actually, as he received it there, he perhaps could have turned, even though it wasn't under pressure. That was a breakthrough ball for him. Could have just turned and opened the pitch up for Tampines. But never mind, he's still in possession. Just looking to recycle it, looking for that opening.
Madu, ambitious ball over the top, looking for Armin, who is chasing. They have to be very careful here. Armin just about muscled out of it, and I think you have to give Naikudin props, but that looked for a minute like it could go badly wrong.
Yeah, well defended by Naikudin. Spots the run early, gets himself into a good position to deal with that. Under pressure.
Oh, Yasir and Nakamura, they each thought the other was going to take it, and now Stipe Plazabac's offside.
Yeah, it looked like the correct call in that situation. Plazabat just going a little bit too early. Tampines doing well to hold their line.
And it goes for another corner. And I tell you what, the way that Yasir Hanapi's delivering these, you wouldn't want to be conceding them at the rate that they are, would you? Because Tampines look like they're more than capable of making use of set pieces against the Lion City Sailors defence that still doesn't appear to have got over some of the defensive frailties that were evident last season. Plenty of chatting going on out on the pitch as well. Business could really pick up here. Gavin Lee's got his arms up, complaining about something.
As
Yasir gets ready to take the corner. Another good delivery. And that will be back behind for another corner. Sorry, Roshan, you spotted something.
Oh, no, I was just having a look at Tampines' setup from that corner situation. Yasir taking, putting in those deliveries. We've got Pahaki up against Stipe, Bosniak up against Amirul, and then Irfan Najib, man-to-man marking that situation. I think it's Nakiuddin who's got his number. And then you've got Madu Mohana just creating a little bit of distance between himself and Tajeli.
Well, that's obviously what led to the first goal, right? So, I mean, that's an interesting matchup. You spotted them. And, of course, I'm assuming the Stipe and Baihaki matchup at corners is at both ends of the field as well. So we'll monitor that head-to-head battle. Yasser Hanapi with the outswinger. Heads up, headed away. Nakamura's got work to do here because the Sailors have managed to get goal side momentarily. It might lead to them launching a rapid counter. Stipe Plazabat, more likely seeing him down the left, but he's down the right this time. Madu McIntosh, they've left it behind. Stipe. Well, it opened up for them momentarily. You're chuckling it away. I mean, it's just, you can't take your eyes off it.
It's brilliant, isn't it? I mean, we just had a bit of a lull where we were allowed to catch our breath.
That was the water break. That was the water break. It's non-stop. Bayaki. Here comes Erwan. Nakamura. Heavy touch from Nakamura, which has given Gabriel Quack a look in, but there's no respite in the midfield. The only surprise is so far, I don't think we've seen a yellow card. That's got to be coming shortly. Oh, Armin's had his pocket pinch there. That was lovely work by Saifullah. Stipe dropping back into the number 10 role, and he's found Songoyong and space down the right. Not too many white shirts charging into the area. Stipe prefers to hang around on the edge of the area. And they slowed it right down to Naikudin. Back it goes to Tajeli, and I think maybe the message has got out from Vidmar just to like slow the tempo down a little bit. We're the team that's 2-1 in front here. Get control of this game back that they enjoyed through the first 10 minutes. Naikudin, look how much space he's got down the right. He's got the freedom of Jalan Besar. Cross is a good one. Falls to a white shirt, but they can't control, and that's belted away. And Yasser Hanapi now. They seem to be alternating into which Tampines players playing that lone frontman role. But when you look at the attacking talent that's on the bench that will surely appear in the second half, Faris Ramley, Boris Kapitovic, Hafiz Noor as well as Tajeli gets in the face of Zayrudin. Jansen Foos over there to calm it down. What happened here, Roshan?
Well, there was a nice one early on where Tajeli just gave Memenovic a bit of notice early on. I think it's Memenovic returning the message, saying, "I'm not here to be messed around." I don't mind that at all. I don't mind that.
I like the way Tajeli lifted his shorts up like a sumo wrestler.
They both.
You don't mind it, but you've got to be very careful when you go head to head like that.
You do.
Thankfully, they're two stand-up individuals. If Tajeli goes into Memenovic and he decides to fall over on the ground and hold his head, referee's got no choice but to send him off, which happens.
Which was great to see. I mean,
Yes.
if you're going to go head to head like that, then stand up. Behave like men, and that's what they did. They're both looking for a reaction from the other, of course. Thankfully, none of them put their hands up to strike anyone. But that bit of competitiveness, I don't mind seeing it at all.
Well, I promised you it'd be worth the wait, and worth the wait it has been. Offside flag goes up, 6 minutes to half-time in the first half. That has absolutely flown by. Back in possession with Shazwan. Apologies again if you are experiencing some issues with the streaming. Remember, Singtel Star Hub, AIA Singapore Premier League Facebook page and One Play Sports as well. Plenty of options for you to watch this incredible action. And if you are waiting to find out what happens between Albirex and Hougang, that game kicking off in 10 minutes, so you'll be able to watch the second half of that pretty much in its entirety, even if you decide, which you should do, to stick with us. Zayrudin's found a man running through the middle, and that man was Erwin Sharp, and he's now taking his turn to play centre forward. I think they've had 6 different players, the Stags, play centre forward through the first 40 minutes.
Well, I touched on that very early on. Irwan being given that license from starting at left back, yes, but being given the freedom to roam inside and make those late runs from deep, which can be very difficult for defenses to deal with. It was a good opportunity there, really good opening. Just unfortunate that Medovic couldn't quite get the range of the pass quite right.
Look at that run from Gabriel Quack, chest it down, they want handball, and they'll get handball, and he couldn't finish it anyway. Is he going to be booked now for playing on? He is. Well, from all that we've seen in these first 40 minutes, for Gabriel Quack to pick up the first yellow for kicking it away after the whistle had blown. The referee's correct by the letter of the law, but it's completely needless, Roshan.
Well, is he booking him because he's kicked it after the whistle has gone, or is it booking him because of a suspected handball? But it looks like
I think it's
because
the
after the
latter.
whistle has gone. But
or maybe a combination of the two.
It's a bit harsh for me. I mean, think of that situation. I mean, we've just seen 2 players going forehead to forehead. He's let that one go, and then he's given poor Gabriel a yellow card in that situation.
Gabriel Quack, already with his first goal of the season after 6 minutes. We'll be running you through the highlights at half-time. Do rejoin us after a very quick break at half-time. Roshan Brai will be giving us his expert analysis, the former SPL player and one of the faces of the AFC's coverage of the AFC Cup and Champions League, which of course is of particular interest to Singapore this season, with the Lion City Sailors and Geylang flying the flag and belting out berjuta-juta for Singapore in the AFC Cup, and the Stags Champions League bound in the AFC Champions League. Nice one touch from Zayrudin, wants it back, might get this back. He's got Yasser in support in front of him, but Gabriel Quack is back supporting, and look at the space it's opening up in the middle of the field now as they bring it out with Shardan. That's well watched by Irfan. And Irfan's done really well there. He's sold a bill of goods that's been bought, and Irfan's made some space. They'll leave this for Zayrudin Medovic. Irwan ahead of him. He's also got to his left-hand side the support of Armin. Armin! It opened up for him again. They are standing off them, allowing these long-range shots, and he'd want that one back, Arman, wouldn't he?
Yeah, he certainly would. Again, it's a little bit of a wasted opportunity for Tampines because they've broken really well right through the middle. It's a clever pass from Irfan right into the center of the pitch, and Tampines had numbers in attack there. Just a move that fizzled out in the end. It was a difficult opportunity for Armin Bosniak to try and really hit the target from that position.
Again, the short goal kick routine, working a charm for the Sailors this time as they penetrate into enemy territory. And that was another cards coming out here. Well, Jansen Fu, I think, kept the cards in the pocket for the best part of 40 minutes, has now shown 2 cards in 2 minutes. And that, incidentally, is the amount of stoppage time we'll be playing as the first Stag goes in the book, and it's Shah Shahiran. So Gabriel Quack and Shah on a bit of a tightrope now for the second half. So I'm very impressed they've been able to tell us there's 2 minutes of added time when we've still got 2 minutes of normal time to play. That's another thing that gets me with football nowadays, the lottery of the time added on for stoppages, Roshan.
Well, up to the discretion of the referee. And to be fair, I think that was a good call with that yellow to Shah Shahiran. I mean, he certainly was having a couple of goals at Saifola. But just to touch on Saifola and the game that he's had so far, great on the ball, and with his movement has been very clever as well. His ball usage has been good. But again, that's another example of what I was talking about. You know, it's the technical qualities of these players to receive under pressure and turn away from that pressure, open up the pitch, which we saw there from Saifullah up against Shah Shahiran, causing Shah Shahiran to pretty much have no choice in the end but to give away a free kick and pick up a caution.
Well controlled by Shardan. He finds Gabriel Quack, who always looks a threat down the right. If he cuts inside, they could be in trouble. And he's losing his marker far too easily for me in that situation if you're Gavin Lee. Rosham right.
Gabriel's always going to be looking to just try and drift in. Again, he's isolated by Haki. One-on-one here. Just goes in onto his left foot, unbalances the central defender there. Can't quite wrap his left foot around the ball enough to guide it back towards goal. It's a nice idea. It was always going to be looking towards the far post. Just needed that swerve back in, which he didn't quite get.
A reminder, half-time show on the way. Kick-off also moments away. 5 minutes away to kick-off at Jurong East. That game's also live on Singtel Star Hub and the AIA Singapore Premier League Facebook and OnePlay Sports pages across social media and YouTube as well. Albirex and Hougang in their delayed match. That's a good ball down this left-hand side, looking for Irwan. Irwan, who had a great game here at Jalan Besar in the Charity Shield last year when the Stags get the better of Hougang. I seem to remember Jordan Webb, the now departed Jordan Webb, being red-carded late in that game. Irwan was the star of the show for Tampines that day. That's a terrifying sight. Just out on the top left of your screen there, when you see the kind of players that the Sailors have got warming up as substitutes. Confirmation, as you can see from the fourth officials board that just flashed in shot. 2 minutes of time to be added on. I don't want this first half to end. The only good news is we've got 45 minutes more of it to come. Madu.
It's a great turn by Haki. Clever turn. Under pressure from Gabriel there.
Armin inside. Zayrud in. Nakamura can hit them. Just wide of the mark.
Just forced to shift it onto his right foot. And that space has opened up for him to have a crack at goal. That ability, again, we're seeing great examples of that ability to outplay in those one-on-ones. And that's what makes a difference for you in terms of hurting an opposition structure and an opposition shape. He's just trying to get them to Aurelio Vidmar there, Patrick.
I think Gavin Lee and Aurelio Vidmar want to get both teams in at half-time. Any thoughts that this would be a cagey, low-scoring, dull and dire start to the season by two potential title contenders have been proved wrong, because these two teams have found space all over the pitch. It's ebbed and flowed in terms of pace from time to time, but by and large, it's been an exhilarating first 45 minutes.
Just flown by. Glad I've got 3 of my 4 goals in my early prediction already on the board.
I tell you
2-2, I said, didn't I?
I think you might have underestimated, because we still got the potential of Faris Ramley and Boris Kapinovic to come for the Sailors and the Stags, respectively. That could be the last chance to make some magic happen in the first 45 minutes. Jansen Foos had a long look at the watch, and the international sign language of the half-time whistle will be blown even before the goalkeeper gets the ball out of his hand. So half-time here at Jalan Besar. The Sailors 2, Stags 1. 2 goals in the first 6 minutes for the Sailors. Sogo Yong and Gabriel Quack. They needed to respond before half-time, the Stags, and they did after being denied what looked a stonewall penalty. It was Madu Bahana, of all people, that got that back into it after a scramble from a set piece. It sets up the second half brilliantly. We'll be back in a couple of moments with the best of the first half action. But for now, half-time at Jalan Besar. Lion City Sailors 2, Tampines Rovers 1. got quality in abundance. For Tampines, they've got Boris. You know, your tour fix obviously made a difference when he came off the bench in that game against Albirex last season. They've both got players on the bench that can change the course of this game, and it's a fascinating matchup tactically when you think about how Vidmar and Gavin Lee are going to make those changes. Only 3 substitutes allowed, remember, not like some of these other leagues where they're messing around with 5.
Well, again, it's going to be something that's pretty intriguing to take note of as the second 45 goes on. Obviously, the Sailors, with the position that they're in, can allow that little bit of invite that little bit of pressure from Tampines before looking to hit on those transitions that we're so good with. Now,
Farron there is doing great work, our pitchside reporter, and I'm told that Faris Ramley is going to come on. He is going to be a half-time change. Help me out here, Rosh. I don't think there's been any changes for the Stags. I count the 11 of them out there, but Faris Ramley is going to be a change. Now, I wonder who'll be making way, because it will be interesting if it's a like-for-like change with Faris Ramley. They're coming out in dribs and drabs, the Lion City Sailors, so it's still a little bit unclear.
Well, I suspect it could be Haikal that's coming off, but we'll see. Because I mean, if you're looking at a change in terms of the positions on the pitch there, then Faris out on the left-hand side makes a lot of sense, and it just gives them a bit more of even more of an attacking threat in those 4 positions. But Haikal, I thought, actually had a decent first half.
Formerly of Home United, it's correct. He's spot on, Roshan Rai. Haikal is the man to make way for the returning Faris Ramley, formerly of Hougang. Home United, of course, which was the name of the Lion City Sailors in their previous conception. He came back to Singapore, having been plying his trade in Malaysia, and as you say, it just gives them another attacking outlet as the limited spectators, mostly club officials who are allowed in, greet the arrival of Faris Ramley with a lot of anticipation. What can you tell us, and people that are new to the Singapore Premier League, about Faris Ramley as a player, Roshan?
Incredible player. Incredibly talented player Faris Ramley is. I mean, he'll always be a threat in those one-on-ones. He'll take defenders on. He's not just, you know, a player who creates opportunities. He's a goal threat as well, because the timing of his movements are fantastic. So you've got to keep an eye out on him. Irfan Najib playing on this right-hand side of defense. He's going to have a bit of a headache in the second half with Faris Ramley playing on his side.
And as we showed you in our pre-show, Tampines know all about Faris Ramley. Last time he was in Singapore playing for Hougang, he scored an absolute beauty against them. Underway at Jurong East, Albirex Nagata, Hougang United 0 through the first 13 minutes. They're here. It's the Tampines Rovers in black playing left to right, and in the second half, the Sailors in the white-blue shorts playing right to left, and an early free kick for the foul by Haki for the Lion City Sailors to try and make as stunning a start in the second half as they did in the first.
Yeah, he was late to that by Haki. He just had to give away a free kick. I think he knew was going to be late to challenge Song Woo-yong.
It's interesting that it was Aurelio Vidmar that went to the substitutes bench first. That was very nearly costly. Yasser Hanapi nearly managing to capitalise from a lax touch from Tajeli, but they recover well. Tajeli owes Amaral thanks for that. Another aerial clash, and both men go down here. Don't think there was any suggestions of elbows flailing, but of course, being a head injury, physios are encouraged to come on straight away. And hopefully, both men none the worse for it. Talk us through this, Roshan.
Yeah, now that kind of thing you don't like seeing at all. Heavy fall from both players, a bit of a collision in the air. They're both having to go for that, of course, having to challenge for that. Let's hope they're all right. You just saw Song's head perhaps bouncing off the surface. His lower back certainly did.
And again, it's a newly laid surfaces, so it's going to be incredibly firm, isn't it? These artificial surfaces, they take some bidding in.
It's a bit newly laid. It's a little bit plush, but you know, it's not as much give, of course, as you get with the natural surface.
One thing we should say, though, having mentioned that, was obviously it's one of the byproducts. The pitch has played incredibly well. I mean,
yes.
When you watch games like this, you know, when we play, I know the announcements about where the AFC Cup and AFC Champions League games are. If the AFC Champions League does indeed come, I don't think that's in the making, but the AFC Cup is. It's going to give the Sailors and Geylang an advantage if it's played on this pitch with the players being familiar with it.
It certainly will. I mean, it's going to be an advantage playing at home as well. And you look at this pitch, and you look at the two teams on display here. Both teams that like to keep the ball on the ground. They're passing sides, and it suits them perfectly because it's an even surface. It's been watered as well. We had a bit of rain earlier on. And the ball just moves along nice and smoothly.
Amaral took one touch too many there, and Tampines maybe smell blood on the counter, but that's a wonderful covering tackle from Amaral to make up for his own little bit of self-indulgence. And now all of a sudden, there's acres of space on the far side, and the flag stays down. Just momentary hesitation meant the opportunity went begging, and Yasser Henapi. The only difficult thing watching this game, it's easy to enjoy it. It's got to work out who's playing in which position. They're all interchanging at a rate of knots. Yasser Henapi, centre forward 1 minute, sweeper the next. Madhu Mahana, scorer of the Tampines Rovers goal after 20 minutes. Armin now playing his trade over on that far side in the second half and gets a deflection to win the throw.
He's done well there, Nakyudin, for the most part defensively. Nullifying the threat of Armin Bosniak.
Here's Nakamura. Well, he didn't know the space was behind him, but he anticipated it well, and they could be in down the far side. Armin, edge of the area. This is where it gets interesting. Twisting, turning, Armin. Oh, the layback to Nakamura was straight into the path of Shardan. Frustrating for the Stags, who showed some good promise in that build-up. And now Jansen Fu's going to penalise Madhu.
Again, that's well defended by Nakyudin at one-on-one. Up against Armin Bosniak, twisting and turning, keeps his eyes on the ball. He gets a bit of help from Shaifullah there, just to get an extra man on the cover. But it's nice, patient defending from Nakyudin. Just see Stipe taking the contact.
Well, that was a very robust challenge that's left Yasser Henapi in a heap on the deck. Amaral making his presence felt there. Meanwhile, they've switched this, and Faris Ramley standing by. He scored from almost an identical position when he played for Haugang against Tampines Assist, but this time, having given him the big build-up, he left the ball behind. Maybe just blowing the cobwebs away with that one.
He's let me down a little bit there. Faris with that touch. Picked him up. Great in those one-on-ones, and he leaves the ball behind. But nah, it's just a one-off, I'm sure, an outlier.
Here's Madhu. Nakamura took a bit of a liberty there, was lucky to get away with it. Was helped on by Shah. Got to give credit to Shah, the way he came in and tried to fill in that massive void left by the departure of Shardan last season. He looks like the kind of boy that's still got plenty of growing to be done into his body as well, but you know, he's no back number. He's the heartbeat of this Tampines team. It's a ball through the middle that's going to go through to Hassan Sunny.
He was looking for that run of Armin there was Bahaki, but the execution just got it completely wrong on that pass.
Well, never mind a game of two halves, that's one of the common football expressions. This has almost been like a game of 2-minute blocks, isn't it? 1 minute you're watching it and you think one team's in the ascendancy, 2 minutes later it looks like the other. Flag stays down against Stipe here, edge of the area, pull back, man is waiting, shot comes in, he's offside surely. Well, he would have been offside anyway, he wouldn't have counted. But another opening up for Song Woo-yong.
Well, it's this run from Faris that just drags defenders away a little bit, and it's a cutback that he's looking for.
He would have been offside, wouldn't he?
Yeah, he would have been offside. There's a couple of players, Gabriel and Song Woo-yong, looking to try and hit that one. As the cutback came across.
Just looking down, there's no sign of any movement on the bench from Gavin Lee. The Tampines Rovers substitutes are warming up. It's the internationally recognised time for second half substitutes, isn't it, on the 60-minute mark? You know, why don't they mix that up a bit, make it 59 or 61? Tends to be the hour mark, doesn't it? Internationally recognised time.
Well, I think he just wants to give some instructions later on at the halftime break and see how it goes for a few minutes or so.
Lovely touch from Mark Ryan Tam, wasn't it? Lovely. Yasser Henapi, unfortunately, he can't repay. Already we've seen the benefits that Mark Ryan Tam is having playing in this Tampines side. And of course, it's the advantage of being able to go to a bigger club per se, but knowing you're going to start. Meanwhile, Faris Ramley shows his predatory instincts, tries to thread it through to Stipe, and that's a wonderful sliding challenge from Baihaki. That's all his years of experience coming to the fore there, Roshan.
Yeah, it's well timed. It initially looked like a really smart pass from Faris into the run of Plazabat. That's a bit too much on that. Well read by Bahaki. He's able to come across and avert the danger.
Well, they're taking their time here, and of course, not a factor yet, but the clock will become an issue at some point. But the question is, I'm not sure the Sailors are built to defend leads. I think they're the kind of team that you play them, if you get 3, we'll get 4. I mean, it's great for us, great for the neutral, and great for the casual fan, but it can be heart-stopping if you're one of their supporters. So I don't think we're going to see, if it stays 2-1, with 10 minutes to go, them shutting up shop. I think this is going to be action-packed now. I'm being given news by Farinair pitchside that Boris Kapitovic is about to come on now. You've got it spot on with who the Sailors will withdraw for Faris Ramley. Who do you change here if you're Gavin Lee to accommodate Boris Kapitovic? Because they simply aren't really playing with a front man at the moment, so you can't replace him. You've got to sacrifice one of the midfielders. Are you looking?
Yeah, I think it might be Mark Ryan Tan that makes way.
Did well eventually to get the ball across there because he was under some pressure. Song. We'll wait and see if Roshan spotted him about Ryan Tan. I can see the thought process behind that, because of course you also got to factor in the under-23 situation, which is now gone. He's one of the under-23 players. So, I mean, not that he has to take him off, but that has tended to be the pattern. It's a bit like Albirex when they, for me, ridiculously tend to take the Singaporeans off, even when they're their best players. Oh, wonderful turn from Song. Is he going to find Gabriel Quack? Is Gabriel Quack going to keep it in the answers? No. Gabriel Quack seemed to give that up a bit too easily for me.
Yep, there we go.
Spot on. He's 2 for 2 on the change predictions. Is Roshan right? Our AIA Singapore Premier League colour analyst. So it will be big bad Boris Kapitovic, who was amongst the goals with 9 last season. And that does add an extra dimension to the game, because quite frankly, Tampines haven't been playing with a striker.
It certainly gives this Lion City Sailors side now defensively another puzzle to solve, but they're coming up against a different sort of player in terms of that profile. There will have to be a restructuring for Tampines as well in terms of the shape, because now there's a big gap down this right-hand side. It was occupied naturally by Mark Tan there. And it seems initially in this build-up phase, they've got Shah Shahiran just popping up on this right-hand side, Irfan Najib being asked to move forward. But it does look like they still want to occupy those central positions. Memedovic, Nakamura, Yasser Hanapi just moving into that midfield 3 now.
There's Madu trying to bring Boris into it straight away, and he looks like he's got the weighting of that purse perfect. Boris will get there, look to cut it inside. Oh, it's just behind Zayrudin. And the Sailors might be able to break themselves at pace. They are an awesome counter-attacking team. And speaking about good tackles, that was wonderful from Madu Mahana.
Yeah, really important tackle. And again, it's one of those situations where if you don't make it, Lion City are in behind you. And there's situations here, because Tampines will have to chase the game, will have to push players forward. Madu and Baihaki, as those 2 central defenders, at times they're going to be up against an attacker on their own. They won't have that cover, so they're going to have to read those spaces really well and deal with it.
That's an uncharacteristic loose touch from Zayrudin, and it's let the Sailors come in again. They had some joy through the middle and down the flanks in the first half. But they're at their best when they're moving the ball quickly. That hesitation has allowed Tampines to reset. Ball's played back by Saifullah, all the way back to Hassan Sunny. Amaral's impressed me tonight with his aggression and his willingness to get forward, and he's skinned big bad Boris there.
That's good to see from Amiral, just as he carries it into midfield, looking to bring his side further forward. Nice and confident on the ball.
Faris Ramley, he's always a threat cutting in from the left-hand side. Faris Ramley finds Song. Oh, Nakamura watched that one well. Now Zayrudin, it was his mistake that led to that brief period of pressure. Can he help them transition up the other end of the field? I get the feeling Zayrudin might be tiring a little bit here. And we are going to see some players start to tire. There's no question about that in these conditions. Remember, the delayed kickoff's probably not helped them in terms of the adrenaline. There's nothing wrong with a turn of pace there, though, from Armin. Armin, can he find a cross? Boris waits in the middle. Armin looking for Boris, diving header, only as far as the edge of the area. Yasser, 1-2 attempted. They really needed to try and pull the trigger there, didn't they, Roshan? Get the shot away.
Yeah, we're just looking for that opening, that opportunity to just get that shot away from goal against Nakiuddin. It's just trying to make it predictable. Oh, Faris Ramley gets taken out by a combination of Irfan and Memedovic there.
But they might have helped themselves, Irfan and Memedovic, because Janssen Fu won't know which one to book. If it was just one of them, it'd have been going to his pocket there. I'm not sure he knows which one. That's what you call a stag sandwich with a helping of Sailor in the middle.
I think He just decided to let it go, but that's a threat that Faris poses. Seeing that space just drifts in.
Now on this near side.
Oh, what a touch.
Look at that, Nur Adam. Stipe squares it! What a goal! Gabriel Quacks on a hat-trick. Stipe, the assist meister from last season. The top assist maker from the last campaign for his second of the game. Wonderful build-up, but again, from a Stags point of view, it just looked oh too easy for the Sailors there. Simple ABC goal, Roshan.
Oh, just admire that. Just admire that. The positioning from Faris Ramley there, dragging out Madu Mohana, and then that intelligence of that touch. Flick in behind. Plazibat as well. I mean, he doesn't rush it. He just carries Waiaki towards him, releases it into Gabriel, who keeps his composure. Another exquisite Lion City Sailors goal. It's been a masterclass, an attacking masterclass, and wonderful composure in those attacking areas and quality that they've shown there.
And we know he's an out-and-out goal scorer, but that's really not an accurate description of him, because not for the first time, he proved himself time and time again, Stipe Plazibat, that he's not a selfish player.
No, he certainly isn't, and again, I spoke about him at the start as well. Sure, he was a league top scorer last season. He gets you the goals, but he also brings his teammates into play, and again, a great example of that. The work he does behind the scenes as well.
Yeah, 5 assists last season. He's got 1 now. Gabriel Quack, 7 assists last season. And he was not shy with the goal scoring either last campaign. With 5, now he's already got a deuce. And don't forget, from a Lion City Sailors point of view, they could still potentially introduce Adam Swandy and Hafiz Noor to this party, another 2 fine attack-minded threats. Simply, the Stags need a response quickly here, because we're entering the final half hour. Boris hasn't had much to go out in the penalty area so far. Might get something now that cross just over him. And this is what you have to look at now, the substitutes remaining. They've already brought on Boris. Is there anything you do if you were Gavin Lee looking at the substitutes to try and get it? You've obviously got Fazrul now as Torfik, I suppose, gives him a different option up top.
Well, you look at, again, you're looking at attacking options, aren't you? Because you're going to be chasing the game, and Taufik Suparno is going to be the obvious one here with his energy in those attacking areas, running into channels. Perhaps you just change that formula up front a little bit. Fazrul is an option, yes he is. But look, Taufik's probably the next likeliest change here, although
Gabriel Quack
could give him an opportunity.
Through to Stipe. I mean, they're not a traditional strike partnership, but the way I look at Stipe and Gabriel Quack, it's almost like Shearer and Sutton back in the day for that title-winning Blackburn Rovers team. There's very much a strike partnership about them. Furious with the referee is Armin now. There's a challenge gone here. Wouldn't mind seeing the replay. Did you pick this up, Roshan?
Yeah, it was a bit of, looked like there might have been a bit of a stray arm from Song. I'm not sure there was much intent in that, to be honest. I think there's a couple of players challenging for the ball. His arm came across.
Well, we might be able to get a look at it, I think. He's certainly holding his throat here.
Yeah, just as Shah touches a little bit heavy. It's just a push off. It's quite natural in those situations to use your arms to just get away from the opposition.
I'm sure it hurts, so I'm not giving him any stick for laying on the deck for a bit, Shah, but
no, there's no malice in
he
there.
wasn't play acting to try and get the player yellow carded or sent off. Yeah, well, the Sailors, as we go over the 15-minute mark in this first half, adding to that 2-1 lead from half-time, Gabriel Quack, 58 minutes on the clock, doubling his personal goal tally and giving the Sailors a 2-goal buffer, which, remember, in the first half, they only held on to for 14 minutes before Tampines got right back in the game. But, I mean, quite simply, it's stating the bleeding obvious, but Tampines need to be the next team to screw if they've got any hope of getting anything out of this. They go 4-1 down, it's all over. But here's their chance maybe to get back in the ball game. To the left, where Armin continues to impress. Nakamura beats one. He doesn't beat the second, though. Yasser Henapi wins the header as they root in. Waited for the ball to come to him, and the Sailors capitalised on that hesitation. Boris Kapunovic. Oh, he's going to concede the free kick there, is he? No. Referee plays on. And look at the overlapping run of Faris Ramley again. He's having an impact, this boy. As he gets the ball back, Madu, to Shazwan.
And they're looking really well organised here, Lion City Sailors as well. And again, what is so impressive is we've touched on the quality on the ball, but their work rate off the ball has been excellent. You know, we've seen in situations in this game, Tampines have struggled to sort of get that midfield line back in those counter-attacking moments. Not had any of those issues with the Lion City Sailors.
I think Faris Ramley would have been offside there, and he is. So that's a correct call from the assistant referee over on that far side. Yes, they're not opening up the Sailors in this second half so far as well as they did in the first on occasion. That might change now. Armin, he needs to find the kind of relationship with Boris that Gabriel Quack seems to have with Stipe. Back to Zayrudin. Zayrudin to Yasser. Yassir's through! It's 3-2! Game back on at Jalan Besar! What were we saying? You cannot take your eyes off this for a minute.
That's a great touch. Great touch by Yassir. Have a look at that touch. Just he takes it away from the defender here. I mean, again, it's an accurate. It just holds up Bosniak. He doesn't get beaten in a one-on-one, sure. But just as I was praising Lion City Sailors and their work rate in central midfield, off the ball there, they go to sleep a little bit. And that's where Tampines were able to exploit them. Memenovic dropping into that space. Great touch. Have a look at this from Yassir Napi. Oops, see ya, Tajeli. And he puts it past the goalkeeper. Tampines, to their credit, have fought back really well in this one.
And again, game back on. I said if they conceded the next goal, it was game over. Now they conceded, or scored, I should say, the 5th goal of the game. It is very much game on. And we were talking again just during the break at half-time. I said to you, didn't I, Rush? I said, you know, this is the kind of game that no outcome would surprise you. And even though the Sailors lead 3-2 now and have arguably had the better of the chances, even now, 3-3 wouldn't be a shock. 4-3 either way wouldn't be a shock.
Yeah.
The only thing that probably would shock me at this point is if it stayed 3-2.
Yeah, I should have gone with 3-all in my pre-match prediction instead of 2-all. Shouldn't I? I mean, the way the game has gone has been fantastic for the neutral. And if you're tuning in, you just see the quality on display in an attacking sense.
Nakamura, he was instrumental in the build-up to that goal. Yassir Henapi gets it through to Boris. Can they level it up here? Across the edge of the 6-yard box. And Yassir was a hair-breadth away from getting on the end of that to make it 3-3.
I think Lion City Sailors want me to shut up right about now, because every time I sing their praises a little bit, they fall asleep and allow the opposition a way back into this game.
It's the commentator's curse. Really, I tell you what, it's not heralded, but what Armin's doing down that left-hand side is really vital, because he's got the ability to go past players and hold it up. Now, the referee will have to blow here because it was a touch from the referee. They'll have to play a drop ball, and of course, it'll be interesting here to see what happens. I think I saw last season one of the attacking teams actually take a shot from the drop of the referee's ball, because it's an uncontested drop ball that's the procedure here. And we saw last season someone take a shot from this situation. Zayrudin won't do it, of course. Zayrudin scored the last 2 times he's taken on the Sailors. That's still a possibility. 25 minutes to go. Some more cards to be played from the bench, potentially. We've seen 2 changes so far, 1 from each. Mark Ryan Tam making way for Boris Kapitovic. And Faris Ramley's return, replacing Heikel. That was at half-time. By Haki. Headed that into the path of Song. Stipe. Song's got a chase on here. It's one he might win. Good covering work from Madu Maihana. Well, we're rapidly approaching the second water break. Denotes the midway part of this second half. And we're still no closer to seeing who'll be going top of the AIA Singapore Premier League tonight. Back in the old days, in the 80s, you never used to get a look at league tables until the season was a couple of months old. Now, of course, everyone gets the league tables up as soon as the first final whistle of the season has been blown. And, of course, talking about who might be top tonight, where goal difference is concerned, Albirex Nagata might want to shout at that. Their game is delayed. They're in the first half. They're 10 minutes to go to half-time, and Albirex Nagata lead Hougang by a 1-0. So they're defending champions, lead by a 1-0. And remember this name. You know, they seem to uncover a goal scorer every season. Suboy is their first goal scorer of the campaign. Faris Ramley helping out at the back. Oh, Stipe's in a one-on-one situation here with Bayhaki. Bayhaki again with that experience helping him. Armin, he's their go-to flank, isn't he? No question about that. I'm told Adam Swandy is coming on for Song Il-yong. Adam Swandy's about to come on for... Sorry, I was just past that information. I should have let you go for the hat-trick of predictions.
It's quite all right.
Yes.
Probably would have got it wrong this time.
Adam Swandy on for Song Il-yong. That's the change that's about to be made. Can you see... I mean, maybe Song's suffering a little bit fitness-wise. He's had a couple of knocks, but tell you what, that terrifies me if I'm Tampines. Quack and Swandy going at it together, but they've got defending to do here! Oh. It's gone all the way in! Would you believe it? We're tied at 3 each! The softest goal you'll see all season. Yasser Hanapi is the one taking the congratulations. I'm not entirely sure he got a touch. I think that's just missed everybody out. And with 23 to play, we'll take the water break in the midst of a 6-goal thriller.
That's ridiculous. That's absolutely ridiculous from Lads City Sailors' point of view. From a defensive perspective, I mean, throw-in gets taken. Song, I mean, he gets the ball taken off his toes, but really, how does it make its way all the way through? It's one of those you sometimes see from free kicks where you just aim towards the far post and then hope for the best, and that's exactly what's happened there.
Yasser Hanapi's not gone for goal there. He's tried to play it in the middle for Boris Kapinovic. Boris didn't get a touch in it. That's Yasser Hanapi's goal. Don't you worry about that. And with 68 minutes gone, we are tied at 3-all. We promised you this game would give us some entertainment, and boy, oh boy, it's delivered in spades.
I mean, if you're Aurelio Vidmar, you're tearing your hair out. In a situation like that, to concede the way they've just done. Let Tampines claw themselves back into this game.
Yasser Hanapi and Gabriel Quack are both on hat-tricks. They're screaming for a free kick as Boris goes down on the edge of the area. Well, having said, the only thing that would surprise me is if it finished 3-2 when the Sailors were leading a moment ago. I'm going to be even bolder still. The only thing that surprised me now is if it finished 3-3. But, you know, we kind of have a wry smile about it because it's been wonderful, entertaining football. But the big takeaway for me with 20 minutes to go tonight is the Sailors' defence has not improved one iota. I mean, that was their problem. They'd have been champions last year with a stouter defence. Going forward, they're immaculate almost. I mean, they're a joy to watch. But you've got to pay attention. This is not fantasy football. It's trying to get results and win leagues.
Yeah, I mean, they're the great entertainers, and it's fantastic for us to sit out here and watch it. We're having lots of fun. But you're right to point out, defensively, it's not quite right. The balance is not quite there. There have been moments in this game where I've been impressed with their work rate off the ball. You know, they've tried to Amirul's just looking for Hassan to deal with it. Hassan's thinking Amirul's going to deal with it at the near post. There's nothing tactical about this, is there? Aside from, I don't know, could you have taken a longer throw from that position? You could analyze that, but it's just...
Well, what I will say about that goal is, remember we were talking about Song Young about to make way for Adam Swandy, and that to me was the reaction of a tired player. He just let Yasser Hanapi take it off him, you know, a cursory arm in the air trying to win a free kick that was never going to come, and I may think that is maybe an indicator that Song Young is feeling a bit fatigued. Now, has this change taken place during the drinks break? I don't think so. I mean, maybe he's changed his mind. Now, that change hasn't happened. Adam Swandy is on for Song Young. And Swandy, I always look forward to watching Swandy and Quack playing together. Gabriel Quack on a hat-trick. Yasser Hanapi on a hat-trick. 6 goals, 20 minutes to go. As Russell Crowe said in Gladiator, are you not entertained? Goodness gracious me. This is worthy of a Colosseum. Never mind the Jalan Besar as Armin can't control it there.
You know, it is just a shame that we've not got fans in here to see all this live at Jalan Besar Stadium. But, I mean, these sides, I mean, they've just been absolutely entertaining. It's been lots of fun to watch. Yes, we've had to wait a long time for kickoff to arrive. But, boy.
Oh, that's a lovely ball through from Nakamura. Pace down the left. Armin's got some pace, you know. He managed to catch up a couple of yards on, I think it was Tajeli tracking back. I mean, who do you make the most likely winner of this game now?
It comes down to that situation where we're starting to see, you wonder where we're starting to see a bit of fatigue creeping into the game.
Well, that's certainly, I think, starting to be the case. Who's going to have the fittest boys out there? Down the left-hand side goes Naikudin. Oh, goodness gracious me, what's happened there? It's almost been another bizarre goal. Raining goals here at Jalan Besar. 6 in 68 minutes, and the promise of at least one more to come.
Oh, that's a big miss by Adam. Adam Swandy was Noor Adam, the left back bombing forward down that left-hand side, looking to put in a good cross. Oh, sorry, it's Faris Ramley, I think it was, that put in a really good cross down the left.
Yeah, Faris Ramley's made an impact. He certainly... Oh, they've Lost possession there, Stipe Plazabet. There is Faris Ramley again. Oh, that's a delightful touch and a lovely through ball as well. They're in on this far side, twisting, turning, crack for his hat-trick by Haki with a wonderful piece of defending. But how about that vision? Really impressive stuff from Saifullah. And look at that for relief, Nakamura. Showboating here in a 3-3 situation. And over the top comes Big Bad Boris. Just couldn't get to it. But look at the space now. Zayrudin's in if he can get it to him. Tired limbs everywhere. More goals to come, surely. Zayrudin with a Hollywood pass. Trying to pick out Armin, who gets there. Armin tantalising the Sailors' defence. Boris goes down. Never really any suggestion of a foul. And now all of a sudden, trying to get in on the goal-scoring fun and games was Shah Shahiran.
Some lovely work in midfield there from Nakamura initially, just with that leave. Dummy allowed Tampines to get forward. Just from Tampines' perspective, wish that Kopitovic had taken that first touch forward instead, got a bit wide.
Might get another chance here. Erwin Shah crossing it for Boris just behind him. And that was a very casual but effective piece of defending, albeit that Yasser Hanapi picks up the pieces. Here they come again. Yasser somehow falls on the ground and still manages to get the ball in head front of Faris Ramley. Challenge is starting to fly now. I don't think we've seen the last of the scoring. I don't think we've seen the last of the yellow cards as well. Yasser Hanapi needs to come off. Yasser Hanapi's on the deck and wants to be substituted. Meanwhile, Irwan. Yasser Hanapi won't be playing any more part in this game. He's down and unfortunately looks to be holding his right knee. Gavin Lee's got another change that he's going to have to make in a minute. Meanwhile, playing with 10, it's still Tampines that come forward. Irwan, can he get to the pylon? He can. Can he find Boris? He can't. Hassan Sani gathers it, and now there will be a stoppage, I'm assuming. Well, Jansen Fu not allowing play to be stopped for Yasser Hanapi's removal, which means the injured Tampines midfielder is having to hobble along until the ball goes out of play. And sportingly, and I think that is very sportingly, Hassan Sani obliges. So now what decision does Gavin Lee make? Now Yasser Hanapi's got to come off. That's a blow because he's been a big string puller on a hat-trick, of course.
He's been very good for them, and you're just hoping the injury is not too serious. It doesn't affect them in the matches going forward. It looks like he'll be... Well, I thought he looked like he wanted to carry on. He just decided to go down there. It looks like the change will be made. Might be Taufik Suparno. That looks like Taufik Suparno that will be coming on.
Well, there's a statement of intent. Taufik Suparno, who was such a game changer in the game against Albirex, which reignited Tampines Rovers title hopes, albeit briefly last season. And that's got to be a concern because this isn't the kind of game that Yasser Hanapi would want to go off on. But as soon as he went down in that melee, he signalled that international sign language for I need to be taken off. And it was always going to happen. Well, what this has, of course, done is given us another unofficial water break. I can see already Vidmar is giving instructions to Saifullah at the bottom. Gavin Lee is doing the same with Irfan as well. As Yasser Hanapi, and of course, with a long season in mind, we hope that's not bad when they go down with their knee like that. Might have just twisted the knee on the surface. He wouldn't be hobbling like that, off like that if it was a serious knee injury.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was just in that challenge where he's trying to retain possession. Just probably taking a heavy knock in that situation. Yeah, so I'll be hoping he'll be able to continue on. He won't be missed for too many games this season, Tampines. But Taufik comes in and it will add a lot of energy into that forward line. It could make a difference because starting to see the game get stretched a little bit now.
But let's be brutally honest. We've put the spotlight on the Sailors' defence. We should put the spotlight on the Rovers' defence as well, because that hasn't looked rock steady. I mean, they've both, you could argue, have conceded a very soft goal apiece. There was nothing softer than the goal that Yasser Hanapi scored, of course. And you almost get the feeling now that both sides could be ripe for a mistake that gives it on a plate. I still think there's another goal in this one. Here's Amaral. Coming down the right, Gabriel Quack, Stipe through the middle. It goes to Gabriel Quack. He manages to get the better of Nakamura. Now they've got the overlapping runners down the left-hand side. They switch it oh so well. And the whistle goes after Nur Adam tried to get through. And there is about the quickest yellow card you'll see all season. Taufik Suparno's been on the pitch for less than 60 seconds. And he's in the referee's book.
Yeah, he was well beaten there, Taufik.
Did he take one for the team?
A bit cynical in that situation. I mean, it did look like Nur Adam was actually running into more Tampines shirts there, just moving into the center of the park.
if the game was to end now, who'd be the more disappointed of the two managers?
I think you have to say Aurelio Vidmar, just because of the effort and the control that they seem to have put into this game, getting themselves into a commanding position twice, 2-0 and then 3-1, and then allowing Tampines to get themselves back on level terms.
This is their first set-piece opportunity in quite some time. They'll get a corner ball with 12.5 minutes to play here live at Jalan Besar. It's AIA Singapore Premier League opening weekend of the 2021 season. Don't forget, Albirex and Hougang is ongoing at Jurong East. And there's been plenty of goals there in the first half as well. Albirex leading Hougang by 2-1. The goals flooding in everywhere in the AIA Singapore Premier League. And that's what it's all about. Great to see here. 3-3 with 12 minutes to play. Sailors with the corner. Headed away at the first point of call by a resolute Tampines defence that are trying to dig in here and not go behind again. They trailed 2-0. They trailed 3-1. They battled back to 3-3. If they could take this now, as a challenge comes in late from Saifullah. And now another card comes out. The cards are starting to mount up here.
Yeah, we'll see a bit of fatigue creeping in, a little bit late to some of the challenges. They probably wish that they allowed the referee to play on a little bit more instead of appealing for their free kick, because there was a lovely touch from Taufik Suparno. Gotten in behind that Sailors back line.
Maru Mahana, who's the first Tampines goal scorer after 20 minutes. That feels like a lifetime ago. So much has happened between then and now. And of course, don't get me started on the 2 goals in the opening 6 minutes. Boris wants a free kick and will get one. Played that well, won the ball and still managed to get the referee to give him the decision when he was up against Amarul. Now, one thing we haven't seen in this game, it's all the game's got missing really, is a stunning set-piece goal. And I just wonder, you know, both Zairudin and Nakamura can hit them. Too far out maybe to buy a ticket for this particular lottery. But you never know. It's the only thing this game's not had.
I mean, I'm with you there. I think it's a little bit too far out, but...
well, Nakamura fancies it, so Rudin's leaving into it.
If it does go in, then you've got a goal of the season contender.
Nakamura, the cross is not a bad one, but there were no black shirts really attacking it. Faris Ramley now, there's numbers coming up here. That's been very well won. There's no whistle either. And in fact, Tampines might end up getting the whistle here. I think they probably will. Referee plays on. They're queuing up. Zairudin. No, that was a tired ball that Zairudin played, trying to get it through to Armin. And all of a sudden now, tired legs as Gabriel Crack's furious that the ball didn't go through the middle. And now the Tampines players are besieging Jansen Fu, asking why the free kick wasn't given. And considering there's no crowd in here, and I'm assuming these are the prim and proper officials of the respective clubs, the language and the noise is getting a little bit fruity. Now, well, Faris Ramley was basically felled by Taufik Suparno, who's on a yellow already, remember. And then Stipe Plazibat basically used the head of Taufik Suparno as batting practice. So, all in all, an unpleasant situation.
It's not, I think you described it perfectly. Not much for me to add on that one. Aside from Yasser Hanapi on the touchline here, looking like his knee's perfectly all right. He's gotten up to the touchline to have a go at the referee as well.
Now, change ahoy. And it's going to be a change made by Tampines Rovers. Erwin Shah, who's had a very effective game down the left. I'm assuming this can only be tired limbs. He'll be replaced by one of the young talents that Tampines are hoping to bring through this season in Amarul. They've done a great job, Gavin Lee and his team, to keep replacing these players that they lost. Of course, they lost a great youngster to the Sailors in the close season. And now Amarul is hoping to fill that void. Boris holds that one up well. Where's the man in the middle for him, though? Boris. Well, that's a very ambitious pass. You know what? It's going to find its target. Armin is there. And look at the pullback from Zairudin if he can find him. Armin to the byline. Zairudin waits. Nakamura's on the edge of the area. Plays it back. Will they get a corner here?
Excellent. Excellent once again by Nakyudin.
He's had a great game, hasn't he? And he's been box to box as well.
I mean, they've looked to try and target him down that side. They've always looked to try and get it into Armin Bosniak, obviously being one of their key players in those attacking areas. He hasn't gotten much joy in those one-on-one situations. Yes, he helped set up the goal for one of the goals for Yasser Hanapi, but Nakyudin, I mean, if you look at individually defensively, he's done really well.
Boris, you just want the heavens to open up for Boris. It's Taufik, twisting, turning into the area. Can he get the call across? He can, and it's well blocked. Tampines all of a sudden are looking the more likely to go on and win this. Roshan Wright.
I mean, You say that now, and then we're going to see Lion City Sailors go up in the other end of one of their famous counter-attack. It's been incredible.
I'm still going to put you on the spot, because if we're worried about being made to look silly after saying one thing then the other thing happening, we may as well give up now. It's happened to us consistently over the course of the last 82 minutes. In a show for us, remember, watching live on Singtel Star Hub, the AIA Singapore Premier League Facebook page at One Play Sports, that started, what, 3.5 hours ago, with the kick-off delayed, and it's been well worth the wait. Now, Stipe Plazima, he's been ominously quiet in the last 10 minutes. What a ball that is, though. Stipe gets it in through the middle to Saifullah, and Tampines now, no quarter arse, none given. Nakamura, Taufik Sapano's been everywhere since he came on. Taufik, Zayrudin's got space in front of him, and Armin, like clockwork, available and ready to receive the ball on the left-hand side for the Stags. Armin again. Armin goes down, no whistle. And look at the space Stipe's got, only Madu in front of him. Stipe Plazimat, Madu waits, Faris Ramley on the run. Stipe, ball through, oh, he's pushed it wide! Gabriel Quack with the game and the hat-trick at his mercy. And the flag stayed down. And he's only gone and pushed it wide. What build-up and what a chance, Roshan Wright.
End-to-end stuff here at Jalan Besar Stadium. What a ball by Stipe Plazimat. Have a look at the vision and the execution on that. Brilliant, and deserved the finish. Flowing again, that counter-attacking move that I spoke about from the Sailors. Oh, disappointing finish, just drags it wide, connects with it on absolutely the wrong part of his foot. Almost seems to hit his heel a little bit as he tries to apply the finish there.
Well, they've got a reputation as being the millionaire boys of Singapore now, the Lion City Sailors. There are millions Singapore dollars going forward. There are millions Zimbabwean dollars at the back. I think that's the best way to sum up them being known as the millionaire boys. Goodness gracious me. I mean, one extreme to the other. It makes sensational football to watch. We aren't complaining. Boris, there's going to be one more chance in this, folks. 6 minutes to go, plus I'd imagine, bearing in mind the water break and some injuries and subs, at least another 4 or 5, so there's still 10 minutes of this pulsating action to go. Meanwhile, half-time whistle's got at Jurong East. Albirex Nagar to lead Howgang by 2-1. You're in for a treat there, because when this finishes, you can watch the second half of that game as well. What an opening day to the season this has been.
I mean, neither side here look like they're going to be settling for the point as well. They're both going for it.
Zayrudin, if he'd have got that pass right, he'd have played Armin through with no one picking him up. Stipe tried to get Faris Ramley in. Madu Mahana. Oh, that's a miscontrol, and Boris is through on goal, and really well recovered by Cicelli. That was no easy task. That's a back pass, surely! That's got to be a back pass, Roshan.
I think the referee is looking at it thinking, you know, from that distance, perhaps it's just
that's what he was trying to
back
do.
towards goal.
But he was trying to bail himself out of trouble by playing it back to the keeper. It was clear as day.
Yeah, I think that's what Tampines are upset about as well. I think they feel a few decisions haven't gone their way in this game. I think they're quite right to feel aggrieved at a couple of those decisions as well.
Boris backing into his man. He's so hard to dispossess, that huge hulk of a man, big bad Boris. And he found Zayrudin in space with Armin to his left. Zayrudin, though, tries to get it straight back to Boris. It falls to Nakamura! And what a time to think you're playing Aussie rules football. Goodness gracious me. Skied it from just behind the penalty spot. Gilt-edged opportunity.
A massive gap again, just opening up in front of that Sailors penalty area. Amirul does all he can to just try and hit it away, try and flick it away. He's looking for Sharan to clear the second ball. Kyoga Nakamura, normally incredible technique as he hits it on that occasion. He's leaning back as he struck that one. What an opening for him to get his first goal for Tampines Rovers.
Stipe goes into the book. That's becoming a long list, the players in the book now. That's by Haki. He's impressed me by Haki, you know. I know Tampines have looked a bit suspect at the back, but his experience has been crucial here. Another change on the way. And it's going to be Hafiz Noor, the final change for the Sailors, and that's going to give them some pep for the final 5. But will he be coming on to his team at 3-3, or his team trailing 3-4? Because Armin's got pace to burn down the left. Armin, edge of the area, only Boris waits, and Armin can't deliver the cross. Disappointing end to what was another promising move.
Well, again, I sound like a broken record, but who's that man? Number 19 for Lion City Sailors, Nakyuddin, once again, outstanding.
Now, they've just put number 14 up for that change. It can't be 14 because Soguyong's already come off. Yes, that's been corrected now. That would have had it all if the player had been on the pitch twice in the same game. So This change. Now he's got number 22 up, and that will be Gabriel Quack, so there'll be no hat-trick for Quack. He should have had one. He'll be replaced by Hafiz Noor. But just when you're thinking, well, that's Gabriel Quack off, Aia Vitality not going for the win, let me remind you, Adam Swande, Stipe Plazibat, Hafiz Noor, Saifullah, Shardan, all still on the pitch.
Well, they're both going for it. Both these sides, it's a credit to them. They're both going for it. Coming towards the end of the game here, they're not giving this one up. They both won the 3 points. And I mean, it's just been an incredible spectacle, and it says a lot about the coaches here. I mean, and the desire that they have to go out and win games and to play the way that they do.
Armin found Boris. Armin will want this back. Armin gets it back. Can he pull the trigger? Oh no, Gabriel Quack! Oh, Hassan Sunny. I don't know whether it's spring or summer here. Goodness gracious me. He spilled it. I thought Boris was going to pick it up. Hassan Sunny, by his standards, that's a shocking mistake. He's been bailed out big time.
Yeah, with Tajeli. That's wonderful from Tajeli. I mean, it's great understanding of situation, sees danger early, gets himself across. Yeah. Would have been a simple tap in for Kapitovic.
That's a match-saving interjection there. I mean, that is massive.
Yeah. I mean, if there's one player on this pitch, you don't expect to make a mistake. It's Hassan Sunny, and he was bailed out big time by Tajeli.
I'm going to need a lie down in a dark room after this. It's been incredible. Long may this continue. If this is the sign of a new all-competitive AIA Singapore Premier League, long may it continue. Might not be over yet. Armin, it's Tampines doing the greater pressing. Zayrudin, that's a really cute touch. Amarin trying to find Boris. It's just over him. And Nakamura. I mean, looking at this, is this suggesting to you that Tampines are the fitter of the two teams, Roshan, the way this game's finishing?
Yeah, you know what? It looks like it. It certainly does. I mean, they've turned it on towards the last 10 minutes or so of this game, and I think, you know, the momentum is with them because of the fact that they've clawed themselves back into this one. It's 3-all. I think they're just feeling like, you know, they can smell a little bit of blood in the water here.
Well, quickly, can you check the fixture list? I want to know when these two teams play at our Tampines Hub. I'm going to start counting down the days to that. There will be 5 minutes of time added on. So as we tick round to the top of the shop at 90 minutes, there's still 5 more minutes of this for you to savour and enjoy on an incredible opening weekend of the AIA Singapore Premier League. Yes, we had the delay because of the lightning warning system, but goodness gracious me, we told you it would be worth it, and it has delivered. Well, that was a tough header to try and take on when you've not been on the pitch for that long, but they did it well, and here's Boris again holding it up well. The 5 minutes is up. There's still plenty of time. Taufik gets it to Boris. Taufik finds his way into the middle. Zayrudin's forward as well. Armin on the far side. Chance for Taufik there. If he gets a glancing header to that, it's 4-3. They've won the ball back again. The Lion City Sailors are out on their feet here. And there'll be another free kick. Tampines know they've got just shy of 5 to try and take the sweets on the opening day of the season.
Well, they're just looking a little bit ragged here, especially in central midfield, Lion City Sailors. I mean, Shardan, for all his excellence on the ball, I'm not quite sure in that defensive phase of the game, he's the best. I think it's probably would prefer him to see him in a sort of that double pivot with someone to do that.
Now, referee Jansen Fu, he's going over to talk to the fourth official. I think this is Gavin Lee. Is it in a bit of trouble, or one of the coaching staff, or maybe one of the players? There's going to be a yellow card, is it, or a red here? Yellow is out, and it's one of the substitutes.
Yeah, I think there was a plastic bottle thrown onto the pitch there. And
good spot, Rosh. Now, take 2. 5 minutes ago, I suggested Nakamura might have a dig from this kind of range. You poo-pooed the idea, and sensibly he listened to you and tried to cross it in. I wonder, having seen Hassan Sunny spill that earlier effort from Armin that Boris nearly capitalised on, would he go for it this time? Well, he should have done, because that's an utter waste. Oh my, 3.5 minutes. One of the features of this season, as we try and improve the coverages, we'll be giving all the players star ratings after every match. Mark them all out of 10, which is an unenviable task today. I might ask you, Roshan, to help me, though, because I'll be carrying out that task. Who for you has been the best player on the pitch? That's not an easy question. And by the way, Yasser Hanapi was the player booked for throwing the bottle. That's no surprise there.
Yeah, I mean, look, when you look at the players who have scored the goals, Gabriel, with his 2 goals, stands out. Yasser Hanapi, another one that stands out. But there's been one name that I've been saying constantly throughout this these 90 minutes. And I know
And
it's not going to be...
And before the game, indeed.
Not going to be very exciting, but I think Nakiuddin has done a fantastic job.
I think you were going to say Tajeli.
I've caught you by surprise, haven't I?
Boris in the area, goal side, Boris just past the post. Well, I don't know what I'm doing asking you for a man of the match until this roller coaster of emotions is actually over. How close is this? Hassan Sunny beaten Boris. Hassan Sunny was beat.
Big chance there. Again, another big chance for Tampines. I mean, he's under a little bit of pressure, sure he is, but he's able to get the ball down and have a shot at goal. Hassan Sunny's beaten. Unfortunately, can't find the target.
I think Naikuda and I agree with you going back to that man of the match decision. Not officially the man of the match for us to award, but in terms of our star ratings. But Tajeli's impressed as well. I mean, it's bizarre, isn't it? We're talking about the Sailors being a bit ragged at the back, but Naikuda and Tajeli have impressed more than most. But I think we're talking about the organisation of the defending rather than the individual performances.
I mean, it's tough to pick one. I mean, it's been, again, when you look through both these sides, the individual quality on display, I think I've been really impressed by.
Well, that's a loose pass as well when they're out on their feet here. Look at the fresh legs of Torfik trying to close this down. Now, what's the decision from Janssen Fu here? The decision is no free kick and they can play on. And there's a Sailor down on the deck, Torfik. Well, I think Torfik, well, again, that shows you how injured the Sailor was. Jumped straight back up like a jack-in-the-box, Noor Adam, as soon as he knew the ball was back in play. And here is Faris Ramley. Tracking back well to snuff out the threat. Shah Sahiran. Into the final 70 seconds we rock. Is there one final twist in the most incredible game you could wish for to start a season between two of the title favourites? There may well be, because there will be a set-piece chance here for the Lion City Sailors, and I can't recall them in the second half or the first half actually having any kind of set-piece opportunity from a free kick other than corners. Tampines have had a few, not so the Sailors.
I'm still thinking about who we should award the man of the match to. I'm still thinking about that because I've just had Saifullah winning this free kick, and he's again been brilliant for them. Plazibat's been very good for them up front. And I mean, with Tampines, you've got Nakamura controlling things.
Shardan, set piece. It's floated in dangerously, and Madhu Mahan, who's another player as well as his goal, who's had a very strong defensive outing, is there to clear. This will be the last chance of the game. Faris Ramley, and it's cleared. Edge of the area. Is there one more shot to come? One more shot to save? No, there isn't. Shazwan will gather, and that should be that. In the most extraordinary opening game of this season, across any country, across any continent that you could wish to see. And it goes on. We're over the 5 minutes played for stoppages, and there'll be another set-piece opportunity. Whoever's responsible at FAS headquarters for putting the final results of this game in ink in the ledger, I'd get the pencil and rubber out just for a second, because they're going to have an opportunity to launch one in. And I tell you what, they're going for it as well, because this has to be the last play of the game. They're throwing by Haki up. The only man they're leaving back is Amarul. He's all that's left between Shazwan and the Tampines goal. They're going to have a go here. And why wouldn't you? Now, who's that over there taking it? It's Armin, isn't it? With that cultured right foot to swing this in, with Boris attacking the penalty spot. Keep an eye on Bahaki lurking at the far post as well. Janssen Fu. Well, this is it, folks. It all comes down to this. 96 minutes of football, 6 goals. Will we get a 7th? Armin, Hassan Sani comes, punches, clears, and Janssen Fu can't blow the whistle quick enough. I wouldn't say he's putting us out of our misery. He's probably putting the players out of their misery. Fantastic advert for the AIA Singapore Premier League. A 6-goal thriller to start the season. And Roshan Rai, I suppose on balance, great game, fair result, and we're nowhere nearer to working out who of these two could become the first Singapore side in 7 years to win the title.
Well, I think ultimately a disappointing result for Aurelio Vidmar to take, but what a game we've had here. Incredible quality in an attacking sense. Individually, in those one-on-ones, it's been absolutely superb. Attacking football-wise, some of the goals we've seen from the Lion City Sailors have been top-notch. Defensively, a few question marks, of course, from both these sides. But what a game we've had, Patrick Kinghorn. We've been treated to an absolutely wonderful contest of football here. Made to wait, but it's been great.
Back with his second of the match, just 10 minutes into the second stanza, looked at that point to have secured the points for the Sailors. But those own defensive frailties from last campaign came back to the fore, and a Yasir Hanapi double, this second of his 2 goals, absolutely bizarre, as a harmless-looking cross evaded everyone, including Hassan Sunny, means the honours are even, and it's a 3-all draw. Astonishing scenes here at the Jalan Besar Stadium, and it's a point apiece for last season's second and third. And having a look at the stats as we can now, Roshan, again, it's a feature that we spotted at half-time. Tampines winning the shot count. I'm pretty certain the possession would have been quite level. 5 yellow cards in the end, and, you know, just exhausting. And the stats don't do it justice, do they?
No, they don't. I mean, well, again, I can't emphasize how good a game of football we've had here between these two sides. And I think Tampines perhaps were the team that were finishing this game the stronger. The substitutions that were made, Kapitovic having more of an impact as he came on and really stretched that Sailors defense out. And they had big chances. I mean, both these teams had chances to win this game. As the second half wore on, and look, I mean, we've been treated to such an entertaining encounter, some really good goals, and a couple of defensive errors to look at and analyse.
I can see Farah there, she's down there in the interview position. We hope to be able to bring you reaction from the managers, so stay with us for that. If for any reason we can't before we go off air, do check back on the social media channels. You'll hear all the reaction from here at Jalan Besar. Just to update you, by the way, Albirex Negata 2, Hougang United 1 is the latest score. The second half is underway there, so as soon as you've wrapped up with us here, you can enjoy more great AIA Singapore Premier League action on the same channels. Let's look back at the action from this one. I hope we're only going to look at the second half highlights. If we look at the whole game, we'll be here till Christmas. We will start with the first half, and rightly we should. I'm only joking. And Song Uyong with the opening goal after wonderful build-up play.
Yeah, it was really well-worked goal by Lion City Sailors here. They got off to a great start. I mean, the intensity and the tempo and the energy from kickoff was spot on. Gabriel being given that freedom to just drift inside, link up the play there. Haikal Pasha was a good outlet for them in that first half, down the left-hand side. And it's a nice finish from Song Uyong in the end.
So Song Uyong making it 1, and poor play out for the back by Haki, who really had his pocket pinched here. He stood off Gabriel Quackamal, and Gabriel Quack doesn't need a second invitation. Fine finished. Shazwan no chance. 2-0, 6 minutes gone. Tampines all at sea.
Well, he's looking to try and play the ball out from the back by Haki, and he's got his side obviously opened up, looking to just try and create that width, trying to create options on the ball. He's played a loose pass. Good defending by Tajeli. I mean, he reads the game really well just to come across, take it off Zarudin Mehmedovic, and Gabriel puts it into the bottom corner.
Now, there was plenty of drama up the other end just moments later. Tampines denied what they thought was a Stonewall penalty before Madu Mahana managed to claw one back, and that goal was coming at the time.
It was. I mean, Tampines, to their credit, they grew into the game. It took a bit of time to get going, but this gave them a big boost. Madu Mohana keeping his eyes on the ball all the way, reacting quickest, and putting it past Hassan Sunny.
So 2-1 at the break, but any suggestion that that would be the last of the dramatic action was swept aside. Just 10 minutes into the second half, Gabriel Quack with his second, and a beautifully well-worked goal. Faris Ramley Stipe, and the man... Quack.
I mean,
goal of the game, that one?
I think so. I mean, again, the attacking play from the Lion City Sailors has been quality. Just look at the position that Faris Ramley takes up there. He drifts into a central area. That forces Madu Mohana to come out and approach. And then the intelligence of this flick in behind. Knows exactly where Stipe Plazibat is. Drags by Haki across to him. And then he's smart enough to play in Gabriel Quack for the finish.
So, game over. Don't you dare think about that for even a minute, because Yasser Henapi was on hand. Armanim pressed down the left all day and night long. Got the square ball. Zayrudin, one touch, Yasser Henapi. Lovely sell of the dummy. And there was me thinking of awarding to Jenny the Man of the Match award. You might have to change your mind, or I might have to change my mind after watching that wonderful goal.
Yeah, I think, again, you know, it's Nakiuddin who's trying to make it as predictable as possible, and he's obviously showing him back inside, and that's where they're loose in those central positions. And that was a bit of an issue for Lion City Sailors defensively with their strength in those central areas. And I mean, but just look at this goal here, the equalizing goal from Yasser Hanapi. It's ridiculous. I mean, I said if you're Aurelio Vidmar, you're tearing your hair out at a goal, like conceding a goal like that.
It's a game that had absolutely everything, but Aurelio Vidmar and the people that do his video analysis will not want to look at that fondly. So 3-3, Sailors and the Tampines. The honours are even, and of course that leaves the path clear for Albirex, the defending champions, to be top tonight. Right, we can now go down pitch, so that's promised. Farah has done great work. She's got Tampines manager Gavin Lee with her.
Tampines Rovers head coach Gavin Lee. Gavin, there was a little bit of a delay at the start, but once we started going, it was end-to-end stuff really. What did you make of your side's performance?
Yeah, you know, I think initially there was a big pause. It probably provoked our momentum slightly, but you know, the Sailors, fair play to them, they got cracking at the start early on, and they scored 2 goals which we should have stopped. But you know, the boys paid attention to what we've been working on, just to stay calm and just keep playing our football basically, and find solutions. And so I'm proud of their performance today.
Towards the end, the momentum felt like it was very much with you. So did you think that there was anything more that you could have done perhaps?
Yeah, definitely. I think today we walk off, probably they will say the same thing, but for us definitely we walk off feeling like we dropped 2 points today.
Thank you, Gavin.
Thank you.
Interesting insight for me from Gavin Lee. He feels that's an opportunity lost. And bizarrely, even though Gabriel Quack missed a sitter,
yes,
right at the end to make it 4-3, I kind of tend to agree with him. He's probably going to think maybe next time when we play this team, they'll have Lopez. By that point, Lopez will have acclimatised to local football, give them another option. So maybe you can understand his disappointment.
I think he'll feel that way because of the way Tampines sort of finished off this game in terms of being the side that's stronger here. But you're right to mention, Lion City Sailors had 2 big opportunities to win this one. Gabriel had 1, and I think Adam Swandi had 1 at far post as well.
Yeah, and of course Boris just whistled past the post for Tampines. So Gavin Lee thinks he should have won it. I want to know what Aurelio Vidmar thinks, and luckily Farah now's got him. Farah, over to you.
Now I have with me Lion City Sailors head coach Aurelio Vidmar. Aurelio, were you pretty much disappointed with that? Do you think you should have come off with all 3 points here?
No, we had a great start. Obviously, the first 6 or 7 minutes, scoring twice, and probably that first half we could have scored a couple more goals. But full credit to Tampines. We all know they're a good footballing side, and they clawed their way back. And I think we had some difficulties in that second half. We weren't able to retain the possession for longer periods. So I think first game, it's a great start for us, and I think we'll just get stronger as the season progresses.
Like you said, you had some difficulties, especially in the second half. So how will you be looking to eradicate it when you face Tanjung Pagar next on Wednesday?
Well, the only thing I'm interested in now is that the players are recovering, and by tomorrow morning we should know if anyone's got any injuries or knocks. So that's my main concern. And then we can focus on what's going to happen with Tanjung Pagar on Wednesday.
Thank you, Aurelio.
Thank you.
Tell you what, I mean, never mind tomorrow. We're going to talk about tomorrow's games in a minute, but I'm excited now thinking about this plush Lion City Sailor side taking on a Tanjung Pagar side. If you're suffering from knocks after a hard game here, the last team you want to play is Tanjung Pagar.
Yeah, I mean, look, again, it's a Tanjung Pagar side with lots to prove this season. But I'm not quite sure I believe him when he says that he wasn't disappointed with that, because...
the last goal Tampines scored, it was screaming at the walls in the dressing room, surely.
I think they should have come away with the win here, with the opportunities that they had, the chances that they created. And when you think about how they put themselves in that commanding position, 2-0. First of all, getting off to a great start, allowing Tampines to get themselves back in it. And then at 3-1, you think, okay, here's another opportunity to control it for us. And they didn't do
hanging on.
At the end, hanging on, absolutely right. And again, touch on, again, that's why Gavin perhaps feels that they could have won the game late on, because Tampines finished the stronger of the 2.
Right, now, well, we won't go on for too long. That'll please you. Time's 9:15, but the good news is there's still live football going on in the AIA Singapore Premier League. So check in with Singtel Star Hub, social media channels from both OnePlay Sports and the AIA Singapore Premier League. Albirex Negata leading Hougang by 2-1. Suboy and Chiku, remember those 2 names, 2 new boys for Albirex Negata with the goals for the Swans, and Hougang back into it with Gerald Ong. So that game game's just starting, about 15 minutes into the second half. You can enjoy that. And you don't have to wait too long for more great AIA Singapore Premier League action, because we'll be back tomorrow with another double header. I'll be heading to our Tampines hub, looking forward to Geylang with their new scoring sensation Silvano taking on Tanjung Pagar United, and I'm really looking forward to seeing them. I think they could be the most improved team this season. And then the Young Lions will be playing here against Marko Krajovic's Balestier-Cal. So they're two games for you to look forward to tomorrow. Final thoughts, Roshan. It's so difficult to sum this up, but we've had a great night, and ultimately, like we talked about extensively before the game, a wonderful advert to start this brand new season, where we hope to get everyone optimistic and back into the stadiums when they're opened up.
Look, I think I was just going to say exactly that. The fact that, there's been a lot of build-up, there's been a lot of excitement coming into this. I think the two sides delivered. We spoke about the quality on display, the way the coaches want their respective sides to play their football, and, a great advert for the SPL this season. What a match we've had, and I hope it continues throughout the year.
We have brought back the Raw in some style here at Jalan Besar tonight. It's very much game on. Don't forget to switch over now and enjoy Albirex and Hougang, and we'll see you tomorrow for another two great games from the AIA Singapore Premier League. Thanks to Roshan, thanks to all the team here. Stay safe. We'll see you tomorrow night.